And we're back after, what is it, 5 weeks, 6 weeks? We are finally back with the last episode of All Stars 5, the finale, with Slay Coulee, Airline, and of course, your own Ms. Relatable. Now, what are we going to do tonight? We are going to go through a couple of articles, very interesting articles that came out in the past couple of weeks. Then, of course, we're going to review the episode, and then we'll have our little kiki time with our usual questions and your comment and so on, and give you also some updates for the channel. So if that's the only thing that you're interested in, then you can jump forward to the stream when you see this image here. That's when I will be giving the updates. Now, for now, it's good to be back. Hello, everybody in the chat. We have Jules, Tara, and it's pretty intimate tonight. We'll keep it that way. It's good anyway. So I saw this article. I saw it actually last week, and it's about RuPaul's Frack Race. Of course, it's about RuPaul's Frack Race. I mean, it's RuPaul and fracking. Anyway, you know that there was this kind of controversy where she basically admitted to fracking. And then everybody was talking about this fracking, but she never came out and say, oh yes, we frack. The problem is there was a little bit of damage done to the image of RuPaul. Then when everything that happened, she deactivated her account on Twitter. Well, it was not good. So recently this article came out, and this article is just shilling. It doesn't give you absolutely any kind of usable information. The only thing that it tries to do is damage control. So basically it's an interview to one of RuPaul's alleged neighbors, basically saying, you know, here in Wyoming, whenever you buy land, you don't get the mineral rights to the land. So basically you own the land, but if someone wants to come, if an oil company wants to come and frack on your soil, then you have no choice. You can start a lengthy legal battle and so on, but you know how it ends. You basically have no choice, which is not wrong, by the way, which is not wrong. I mean, when land is sold, of course, a lot of different things can be done with it. You can sell part of it, you can sell some rights. But the point is, the interviewer didn't ask the most important question of all, which is why this article is all about withdrawing information. He never asked, do you know if RuPaul has the mineral rights or not? Which is the only important question. So basically there's this shill article where they're trying to justify the fact that RuPaul might be fracking, when in the interview herself, she said, we lease the rights. That's right, you heard right, we lease the mineral rights. Now the point is, you cannot lease something that you don't own. And of course, the editing of this article was done so well that it's written right there under the headline. So this was a nice article to take a look at. I'll leave a link in the description. I left a link on the Discord, so you can find the links in the description for the video. The other article, which is the most important one, it's about editing. This is another interview by somebody called Kelsey Staller, who calls herself a journalist, who basically did this interview to one of the editors. And this whole interview is nothing but shilling. I will give you the TLDR because this is a pretty long article and it's also pretty boring for nothing in the end. But basically, what they are saying here is that the editors are not the ones who have to be blamed for the producers' choices, which is something that we knew already. There are the producers, they have storylines, they prepare them, and then the editors carry them on. They are the one that make it into reality. So there is no problem there. The problem is that they say they don't actively try to manipulate. And this is interesting. This is interesting because she uses these words, but she doesn't define them. How do you define manipulation? Because maybe you can say that manipulation is taking half of a sentence here and another sentence there, and that it's not manipulation because technically it's something that you said, you know. So what does she mean by that? Of course, the journalist never asks the important questions. And then goes on saying that the editors deeply care for all the queens. And I believe that, you know, I can believe that. It's not that I don't believe it. But the point is, Again, the journalist didn't ask the important question: how does your deep care for the Queen affect you carrying out the orders that you receive from the production team? Because that is something that would be interesting to understand. Of course, this poor woman that you see in the picture, she's an editor, and of course, I have nothing against her because this is her job. She has a family. She's somebody to take care of. So she has to do what she has to do in order to take care of her family. And I respect the hell out of that. Nevertheless, this article is full of bullshit because we know that villain edits exist. We know that what they call reality it's not real reality. It's not the kind of reality that a court, for example, would accept as proof in a case. Because when you take something that really happened and then mix it up, take it out of context, add noises here and there, change the meaning of sentences, that might be real, that might have really happened, but it's not an accurate depiction of reality. And this is something that I wanted to draw your attention on, because this article is very manipulative. It starts with all this crap, that it's not crap itself, it's crappy the way it's used, about how women in this kind of workforce are usually a minority. They're around 20%. We need more representation. We need more women, which is all good. It's all good. And it's all true. We need more women in this kind of informatics field. There is no problem with that. The problem is when you start with that, using to put me in the right mood to have sympathy for what this person is saying. And what this person is saying is really a bunch of bullshit that she probably has to say because she has to keep her job. So, it's sad. It's just sad. It's just sad. So I wanted to point you on this one. I will leave a link to the description for this article as well, so that you can take a look for yourself. Meantime, top RPDR channel, Corelio, Amateur Season, Montana Banana, welcome to the stream. Now, let's move on to the last episode. The last episode for All Stars 5, the finale. And we start with the Twitter polls, because if you remember, before the last episode aired, they asked, of course, on Twitter, who do you want to win? And when you look, these are pretty recent, because I took them a couple of days ago, these screenshots. I also have the older ones, but I thought, let's use the most recent one, maybe just for completeness. There are people who watch a little bit later, then come later, still vote, and blah, blah, blah. Nevertheless, I noticed two things in this. First, the shade thrown at Jujubee, because Jujubee is not allowed to appear on Twitter with her face. We just saw her boobs. So from now on, we're probably going to call her Juju Boobs. And Miss Relatable, she's the last one. People don't like her. People didn't want her to win. And this is on top of all the manipulation that we have seen during the editing, all the desperate tries to make her look so much better than what she probably did on the show. We covered this during the whole season of All Stars, and we are going to cover it tonight as well, because there is something to say about what's happening in this last episode as well. Now, before we go to that, I need to give an healthy word of advice on Miss Cracker, okay? We do not condone any kind of hate, of disrespect toward this person. I want that to be clear. I think that there is a difference between talking about something that is publicly available and then go to this person in real life or on our social media and give your feedback, or my feedback. If your feedback is not warranted, don't give it. Because even with the best intention, it can come off as offensive. Not to mention that these queens are constantly objective of hate, of death threats, of basically hateful message. So the point is, we talk about it, but we talk about it here. So don't bring this out personally, unless of course she comes out and asks and say, well, how did you think I came off from All Stars? Did you like me on All Stars? When feedback is asked for is one thing. When it's not warranted, it can be confused as hate. But we are going to talk about Cracker because there are a lot of things that have been going on around Cracker. There was this whole Frisk incident, which was, well, many people took it as an objectification of black men, because it was basically a series of pictures that disappeared from her Instagram when she's basically touching black men, fit black men. Then there was this trip to Africa for journalistic purposes. That article that basically it looks to me like nothing like a big justification of what is basically sexual assault. The insults to Asia O'Hara, calling her a cunt, not once, thrice during in interviews. All these passive-aggressive remarks of who has more following, who has less following, I have more, so I am this, you have less, so you're that. The tearing down of vagina during the same season and masking it as constructive feedback. There is a ton of stuff that when you take it all together, it clashes just a tiny, tiny bit with this family-friendly, goofy, and relatable persona that she puts on the show. Because, one thing, take Sharon Needles, for example. Sharon Needles is abrasive. Everyone knows that. That's how she markets herself. That's how she presents herself. So she has done a ton of questionable things and said a ton of questionable things in time. But, that is part of who she is. That is part of her brand. That is what she does. You expect it coming from Sharon Needles. But when you see something like this coming from Miss Cracker, it clashes. It clashes a little bit, and it makes her persona come off as fake. And when on top of that, you put all the editing that has been used to shove her down her throat through the entire All Stars 5 season, well, it's become a little bit too much. So I do not condone going to her and give them a piece of your mind, but we are going to talk about it. She has the right to be respected, and we have the right to comment about it. So we are going to comment about it. Now, moving on. Let's begin with the episode. Where are we? This is after the last elimination, when Blair went home, and we immediately have this relatable moment from Cracker. Now, I'll give you an healthy word of advice. This relatable moment never happened. It's not part of the confessionals that were recorded for this episode. It comes from somewhere else. This is, remember the article. This is, again, throwing back from the article. But I'm going to show you later on, just in a moment, how I found out that this confessional belonged to a totally different episode. Nevertheless, the queens are sitting on the couch. They are talking. They are going to open the box, see who voted for who. And in the middle of that, we got a little bit of this memeable Cracker moment, because it looks like she tried the whole season to be as memeable as possible, because as you know, in the social media era, being a meme means that you get a ton of publicity, and a ton of publicity, of course, means a ton of money, big career, and so on and so on. So we're going to go over what happened in here and jump directly to the next day. Let's call it next day. It's probably next week. And this is really probably next week, because the moment everybody gets in, the first thing I noticed is that everybody got haircut. It's difficult to see it with Shay because she wears her hat like 95% of the time. After I created all the images and the material for the streams, I managed to find a frame in which we see her haircut, and you have to believe me on this, she had a haircut as well. But I didn't have the time to just post it and change it and blah blah blah. But look at Cracker. You can see her side. The side of her hair is much, much shorter. Her beard is completely cut. You can see a smooth line. Look at Jujubee. With Jujubee, it's even more apparent that she had a nice haircut on the side. So somewhere between the episode when Blair went home and the filming on this episode, all of them had a haircut, which is completely legitimate. But of course, it gives us the chance of realize which confessionals belong where. Because if they have the new haircut, they were recorded for this episode. If they don't, well, they came out from somewhere else. And this is true for almost all of Miss Relatable Confessionals. I don't know if maybe when she filmed this, she felt a little bit down. She knew that she didn't really have it in the bag, or simply she didn't give good confessionals. Who knows? But a ton of them didn't happen for the confessionals for this episode. And one of this moment is this relatable moment right here that I showed you before. Look at the side of her hair. You can see that there is a clear difference. And in other confessionals, the one that were filmed for this episode, you can see that she has the haircut on the right. So that's it. That RPDR channel, I don't even remember the comedy challenge. Well, I agree with you. It's difficult to remember this episode because we've been bombarded with Drag Race this year. There has been so much Drag Race. Believe it or not, I still haven't watched Canada's Drag Race. Of course, I got uber spoiled from every point of view. I know everything about it, but I haven't watched it yet. So this relatable moment never happened, but it's not the only one that never really happened, because look at this clip. She has two of these kind of moments, and both of them came from another day.
Bitch! I am a monster.
A beast!
Like,
don't fucking touch me! You crazy bitch!
this cracker does not crumble, bitch. You better watch out.
Titty fight.
So, for some reason, we got cracker shoved down our throat a lot in the just first 2 minutes of the episode. Which, of course, it's normal. They decided to give her a specific edit and they simply went for it. What can you do? So, moving on. The next day, we find out that the eliminated queens came back, which is good. Ongina was absolutely living during this whole moment that they have. It was fun. It was nice to watch. I like Ongina. I like seeing Ongina on TV. I think she's a great queen. She didn't really have a moment to shine during this season, but at least people got to see her. People got to remember who she is, which is really good. But in this exact scene, we see one of the first moments that I noticed, which was a kind of prophetic moment. So the queens are sitting on the table. They don't know that the returning queens are there. And they read Blair's message on the window. So after reading Blair's message, there is a scene in which Cracker says, "Oh, okay, let's do the shimmy shush." You know, the thing that Blair does. She wrote it on the mirror. So she basically sets up the joke. And while she sets up the joke, the editors decided not to show her. Instead, they showed Shay.
Oh, Blair.
Never stop dreaming and never stop believing. P.S. And do the shimmy shh. Everybody, 1, 2, 3. Shh. Girl. I don't even know what to say. This bitch fought so fucking hard every day.
And that's not the only thing that I noticed, because, you know, the haircut thing, I noticed when I was rewatching the episode. Because, I mean, look at it. You have to really go with a magnify lens to really notice that there is a clear difference. So I didn't notice that. The first thing that I noticed was this. And then there was this other prophetic moment immediately afterwards.
This is a really diverse group of people. We got funny people, we got fashion people, we got dancers, and then we got Juju. Do we all sound this fake? Honestly, what I learned is that when you look at girls, you don't know what to expect.
And you know, I appreciate Alexis. I know that a lot of people don't really like her. She has kind of an old style of drag. She, you know, I don't know why people don't really elevate Alexis. To me, she's extremely talented. But what I appreciate the most is the fact that she keeps it real. If you remember, in season 10, when Vanjie was sent on first, and before she became a meme, this is important. This was before she became a meme. Immediately after the first episode of season 10, she goes home, and Alexis, who's her drag mother, she went live saying this is bullshit. Hers was not the worst dress. She could have been so much more, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And the ton, blah, blah sounds bad. But she talked a lot in her defense. And this is, it's usually queens will try to speak ill of the show as little as they can. Because after all, they might not really be the family that they portray on television, and they kind of spin as part of the narrative of the brand, but they are still all colleagues, and they all work in the same environment, they all refer to the same company, so they will try to keep these kind of things at a minimum. But Alexis didn't give a shit. She was like, you disrespected my drag daughter, I'm going to speak out about it. And that I appreciate. And this is just one of the first instances. We're going to see another one with the whole India situation and so on. And in all of this, Ongina was absolutely leaving. I mean, look at her. She's having the time of her life. It was so good. Now, after this, RuPaul comes in for announcing the main challenge. Now, what do I think of this main challenge? I think we've had much, much better songs. I don't know what's happening with the hiring of people that write songs, but I don't like Clapback. It doesn't click for me. Do you remember Kitty Girls when they did that number? It was incredible. It had tons of views on YouTube, and when you account for the fact that the show is getting more famous and getting even more views than before. When you account for that, still Kitty Girls is better liked than this Clapback here on YouTube, at least. I think the song was awful. So I understand what happened with Lucian happened. He blew it off. Whatever it is that they really had, but all the things that went on social media was really inconvenient. I understand that. But I could at least hire somebody that could write a little bit better music, because this was the lyrics. The lyrics were like, come on, we are not all 8 years old. You can write lyrics with a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of intelligence to it. It doesn't have to be, a poetry or other things, but a tiny bit of quality. Not too much, because it's still something that you want to hear casually, but it looks like it was just thrown there. So for the last episode, their main challenge will be write and record a solo verse for Clapback, perform a choreography with Todrick Hall, which we will lovably call Frodrick, in line with the people on Reddit. Like we don't go there, But we're going to lovely call him Frodrick, and there is a reason for that. I mean, I don't really appreciate Todrick on Drag Race. I don't. I don't know if I have. Yes, we're going to talk about Todrick later. Let's move on for something else, okay? So the eliminated queen come back, and we have this kiki time that they have on the sofa. Now, this is probably the best part of the whole episode for me, because a ton of things went down during this. First of all, we have the problems with India and Eric. Now, you might think that this is just drama that was created on television or for entertainment purposes, but it's not. It's not. Things have been going on with India for years. And not just with Derek, with a ton of other queens. If you dig a little bit online, you will be surprised of the things that you will find out. So to me, it's no surprise that this moment happened on television. It was very disingenuous, because Derek, went like, okay, just give me an apology and we'll call it a day. And India is like, oh, yes, I apologized, or whatever it is that they do. But I want you to give a little bit of throwback, because we're going to talk about India, and this is going to set a precedent for the rest of the episode. So if you remember, in episode 1, Ongina comes off and says to India, so what's going on between you and Derek? Because I know that you have some beef behind the scenes, and you see you relate to each other's years, and blah 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 and blah blah blah. And India says, well, one of Derek's boyfriend made a drag show and basically bad-mouthed me during the whole drag show, and that is the problem. So she lies by omission. And even though I don't like, I consider lies by omission a little bit better than full-blown lies. They are still lies. They still achieve the same exact effect. And immediately after, fortunately, in the same episode, we have Derek coming off and say, yes, of course, my boyfriend did the show about you because you went online before bad-mouthing her and talking shit about her. And that is the reason why she took all that hate that you gave her and transformed it into comedy for a live show. So at least we can have a good laugh about it. And those things are real. These screenshots really still exist. I have a couple of them, but if you dig around, you will find out much, much more. And they tell all the same story. India, for some reason, stopped working at this club, so Nebraska stepped in. She got angry. She bad-mouthed her on social media. Which, I mean, if you have something to say, see it in private. This is social media is how the queens make money. You don't mess with that unless it's something, you know, at the level of what Sherry Pie did. In that case, I completely agree. But other than that, keep it for yourself. Keep it private. Be a little bit professional about it. So we have this thing going on social media, and I want you to understand that I have nothing against India as well. It's the same with Cracker. I have nothing against her. As a matter of fact, you've seen me doing this show, starting with, oh, India, she's going on first. And then for the next 6 episodes, you've seen me completely surprised and continuously giving compliments to her for how she elevated her performance as a drag queen, which I still believe. It's not that I don't believe it. My problem is with the person behind it. Because her drag has been elevated. But we've seen this kind of shit, and we're going to see a little bit more of the kind of shit that goes around India Farah. So, after this moment with Derek and India, we have this moment with the queens that self-eliminated themselves. And I appreciate Ongina's professionalism in this, in not saying, you know, loud and clear, well, I was already down, and then Cracker pushed me down. Or maybe she said it and they edited it out. Because we all know the kind of social media reaction that she had when she came out and basically said, you know, Cracker, you should learn to lift up people a little bit. You can give feedback, but, you know, always with the with the purpose of lifting them up. And here you see the classiness, the difference between Ongina and Cracker, because Ongina said, learn to lift up people, and Cracker to Asia said, you're a cunt and I have more followers than you. So you start to see what I mean with that. I hope that you start to see what I mean with that. So there is this moment with the eliminated queen talking. We can talk about it, but there is really nothing really interesting going with it. So let's move on to this moment when Derek is absolutely living for everything that is going in down. And you know, I didn't like Derek on season 8. I really didn't like it. I completely fell for the rivalry with Bob during season 8. The fact that she couldn't really do drag, and I completely fell for that storyline. So she didn't really do it for me. But in time, I developed a huge appreciation for Derek because Derek can speak freely. Yes, he is part of the Drag Race brand. And of course, he makes part of his money with it. But he's the best Britney impersonator in the world. He doesn't need Drag Race to have a job. He doesn't need Drag Race to pay his bills because he will get gigs no matter what. That's what he does. Like Chad Michaels, you know? He had his gigs in Vegas for years, for decades, and they didn't need Drag Race. Of course, a little bit more fame helps, but you don't really need it. So it gives her the freedom to, like, you know, say basically whatever she wants, which is something that I really appreciate, and also be more natural on stage because people know her. So after this moment with Derek basically laughing all of the way, we have the pivotal moment of the episode, which is what has been going on with Alexis, Shay, and India. So I want to bring to your attention a couple of things. First of all, Alexis starts saying that saying that basically she chose to eliminate Shay because she didn't want to vote for her friends. And here you gotta appreciate the professionalism, because she just said, I didn't want to vote for my friends, and so I voted for you. It was in her best interest to give as much of an articulate explanation that she could in order for appearing better on screen. But she didn't take that chance, and she didn't take it for a very good reason, because that was not the real reason why she voted for Shay. The real reason...
When you got eliminated, I voted for Shay to go home because India and you were in the bottom, and I didn't want to vote against my friends.
It was not this one. The real reason, she gave it in an article during an interview. She didn't vote for Mariah because she was her best friend, and she didn't vote for India because she didn't want to have a miserable time at work when she would come back home, since they both work in Vegas every day. That is why Shay was the only possible choice left. And you know, this is another thing that goes, this another tick that goes next to India's name. So we have the lying by omission, we have the problematic behavior with another co-worker, and then this, and then this. If I voted for her, which is something legitimate, this is something, come on, this is a show, okay? It's mostly things that you have to do because you have to do them. Because all the queens go on this show, you know, to have some good publicity, get people to know her, get people to know their artistry. But, you know, most of what you do in the reality TV show is not really what you want to do most of the time. It's mostly what you have to do in order to pay your bills, you know. So if you vote against somebody else, well, you voted against somebody else. See the example, for example, you remember All Stars 4, when Naomi voted for eliminating Manila. That's the same thing, you know. It's doing this drag show it pays the bills. You have to do what you have to do to pay your bills. But India would have taken it personally. At least, this is what Alexis believes. So she said, I didn't want to vote against her, because then I would have had a miserable time at work. The work that pays the bills. So I want to put another tick next to India's behavior, because all of this set a precedent. And, you know, when something happens, no matter what it is, you can always look at it from tons of different perspectives, have a lot of opinions on it, because it's just something that happens in a vacuum. But when you start setting on precedents, those things don't happen on a vacuum anymore. They become a pattern of behavior. And people will judge you on that pattern of behavior, because they will start rightfully making assumption on which kind of person you are. So I just wanted to point this out. Now that we are going to talk about the alleged campaigning against Shay, because the problem is that here again, India not only lied by omission, by not stating exactly what she heard, but she also lied. She said things that then she took back afterwards and said, no, I said something else. And I got a clip for that. I actually edited a small clip so that you can see it. Now, in all of this, imagine the situation. Imagine the situation. You have one person there, Alexis, thinking, fuck, I am fucked at home because of this thing with India. Now I'm fucked on screen because people are going to, no matter what, I am hold, so people look already to me in a certain way. I am big girl, so people already look at me in a certain way. Now I am campaigning against what would probably be the future winner of the season. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. It's a tense situation. And that is probably why the editors thought that it would be a good idea to put a little bit of memeable cracker in it. Because, you know, look at that. Isn't that memeable? My God. Thank God we are done with this season of All Stars. I really... let's move on. So, at this moment... Alexis asks India, when did you get this campaigning thing? How did it come to your mind that I was campaigning against her? And India says, it's just what I heard on the side of the stage in the seats. Now, she didn't say during the lip sync, but I tell you, it was during the lip sync, because that is the only moment when the queens during the episode were on the side of the stage in the seats. So this happened after they voted already. This happened after they voted, and Alexis rightfully pointed out, how is it campaigning when we're talking about it afterwards? So even if what you say is right, we already voted. So what is the point of it? And what I think happened is that India is panicking. When you look at her during this episode, you can see the panic in her eyes. She is not able to get her story straight. At least this is what it came to me. So the problem is that when it was her time on the bottom with Alexis, she went to Shay and she said this exact words. I am quoting, Alexis and Mayhem came to me. They came to me and asked me to put your lipstick in, which is not exactly like being on the side of the stage once the votes has already been given and asking who did you vote for, is it? So I made this little clip. Of course I quoted it before so that you know exactly what you put your attention to, but let's watch it anyway.
She brought to Shay to the attention that I was campaigning with Mayhem to send Shay home.
There was no campaigning.
And I don't know where you get that. And I was very surprised that you said that against me.
Well, it's just what I heard on the side of the stage in the seats. You and Alexis both asked, did I vote Shay out? Alexis and Mayhem came to me and asked me to put your lipstick in.
I did not say, let's get rid of Shay.
I'm not lying, girl.
And after all of this, all seems to be kind of good once the hair has been cleared out. But the problem is, this is the third time in a matter of 5 minutes in which somewhat shady behavior coming from India is coming off. So while I really do appreciate the growth as an artist, I'm really starting to question the integrity of the person behind it. Because, you know, I can understand that you have to do some things because that pays your bills. I understand that. Like we did with the article before with the editor and so on. I respect the hell out of that. But all of these things sound kind of gratuitous to me. Gratuitous and manipulative. Which, and of course, that reminds me of episode 1 when she came on screen saying, well, you know what, I'm kind of tired because when people say it, when people hear India Farah, the only thing that they see is her being picked up by Mimiam first. So she's lamenting the fact that she's associated with that. She's been associated with that for 10 years and they don't see the drag artistry behind it, which I do understand. I can understand the frustration that comes from it. I would add that being remembered, no matter for what, is still better than being completely ignored. I mean, remember Alisa Summers? Rebecca Glasscock? Does any of you can quote anything like this right off of the top of your mind? There is blank. There is absolutely nothing. So at least you are remembered for something. Now it's up to you to make something out of it. You know, now that you're in the spotlight for some reason, use it, do something with it. But you don't get to lament this fact and then do a whole performance based on that. I mean, it's either one or the other thing. You cannot have it both ways. You know, you can not really have it both ways. You can either be grateful for the fact that people remember you for some reason and completely ride on that, or you can lament it and try to put as much distance as you can from that. You don't get to do both. You confuse people when you do that. You look like you are trying to get the best of both worlds. You look disingenuous. And this is what I got from India, from this whole season of All Stars, that she looks to me like a disingenuous person. Of course, I don't know her, So all of these impressions that come from an edited television show and some tweets online, there are impression. If I would ever meet her and have a chance to know the person behind it, of course, these things all go on another level, on another perspective. You know, they change their meaning. But as a viewer, this is what I got from it, and this is not good. This is not good publicity. Of course, in all of this, we have another bit of a memeable cracker because, you know, they went with it. So even though they decided already when they did the final edit for this episode, even though they decided already who the winner was, they went on with this thing because you never know. You know, you never know. One moment. I need to drink something. 1 second. So, at this point, we have this other moment with Mayhem. When Shay asked Mayhem, well, then why did you vote for me? Because Mayhem voted to eliminate Shay as well. And then she said, well, I voted for you because I didn't want to vote for my best friend Mariah. And I had a deal with India. So... it's not even been 10 minutes, and this is the 4th time that whatever look you have on India, it's getting worse and worse and worse. This is the 4th time because they had a deal. Because of course the editor, or better, the story producers, asked the editors to frame this in a bad light, because of course it's a game. You are bound to have alliances. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it's entertaining, and I don't see the problem with it, because after all, they have the power to do whatever the hell they want. At least that is the deal for how we know it. But all this thing is framed in a very, very negative light. So, you know how I said it doesn't look like we have a real villain this season? But from an editing perspective, I think that in the end, India Farah was the one who got the villain edit. Not as pronounced. It's nowhere near what happens during the main season. What you've seen happening to Britta, for example, and to a lesser extent to Guido Von Du during season 12. It's not near that, but you can kind of see. You can kind of see what's going on. And in all of this drama, in all of this, oh, you had a deal with who? Why did you vote for me? What did you do? Derek is absolutely living. This is the most precious thing that I've seen the whole episode, next to Angina having the time of her life. Derek is absolutely living. So, of course, the clip is here. It was an obligatory clip, and we're going to watch it.
There was never an alliance. I made a deal with her.
I love this, by the way. This is amazing.
I need a popcorn machine because this drama is too good. And it didn't involve me. I just get to relic in it. I said relic, didn't I? Is it relish? It is relish?
I like Derek. I liked it on this season. I hoped to see more of Derek because, you know, she kind of brought good television. I feel like what happened to Derek is the same thing that happened to oh God, I'm starting to forget names already. Isn't that nice? We've not been doing this not even an hour, and I'm already forgetting names. Which is fantastic. Anyway, when you have characters like Derry on the show, you know, it would be a great production choice to keep them in. Because, you know, they are a little bit more free, they can talk a little bit more freely, they have something going on. There was all this thing with India that was totally not resolved in episode 1. Could have been carried on. From a producer's perspective, I think it was really a botched job to send Derek home, especially because she didn't really deserve it as well, if you remember episode 1, which I don't think you do, because we've been submerged with Drag Race this year. It's been so much. It's been so much, you know. I'm starting to miss off-season. Off-season was that time when the fan base had actually the time to create memes, to decide what they like, to relish in it and kind of create this subculture in the viewership. Now that we have all this Drag Race so much, you don't even have a week in between Drag Race, one season of something and another season. We are not really making memes anymore. It's more like the show is making them for us, if you know what I mean. It's, I would like a little bit of a pause. I'm waiting for a pause in the Drag Race community so that people have at least a little bit of time to, review what they have, talk about what they want to talk, instead of having to talk of whatever is on TV. That is why I didn't watch Drag Race Canada, for example, yet. But we'll see. We'll see what they're going to do. I mean, inevitably, at some point, this thing has to kind of slow down. So we'll see what happens. Now, Amethyst Sapphire said, Derek is messy. It's Derek. R-I-C-K, I think, if I'm spelling it correctly. But anyway, yes, she is messy in a good way. She's messy in a good way. Now, after this, that's basically the whole episode for me, because there is not much to talk about what happened after this. So we have rehearsal with that lovable dancer that we are going to call Froderick Hall. And let's take a moment to talk about Todrick. Just a moment, not too much. Well, I do appreciate the artistry behind it. I have problems with the person behind it. Do you remember Jamal, the other choreographer that came from season 12? You can see such a difference between the two of them. Jamal really looks like he cares about the queens. He comes with the choreography, he tries to see what works with whom and bring the best out of them. And is basically doing his job, At least he looks like he's doing his job as a choreographer, because of course when you are hired from World of Wonder to participate in the filming of one of these episodes, as a choreographer, your job is not just to make a choreography. Most often is also to make a choreography in line with the storylines that the producers want to tell. And you see a perfect example of this with Todrick, because with Todrick it looks like he absolutely doesn't give a shit. It's like, oh, you have the storylines, very well, you are going to have this. Oh, you have that storylines, very well, you are going to have that. And I remember, if I remember correctly, the same thing happened on All Stars when Thorgy Thor was getting a choreography, and she was like, I feel like I'm not getting enough. I'm not getting enough. I'm going to look like a total mess because I have almost nothing to work with. Yeah, that's because Todrick gave you nothing to work with. That is the problem with it. And, it looks like a total sellout. That is my problem with it. Now, professionally, I'm not a choreographer. I have no idea of dancing and other things, so I'm the least qualified person to talk about it. I like the way they look most of the time. But on the personal level, no. Just bring Jamal back. It was so much better on so many levels, and I think a lot of people will be much happier with it, including the queens. So, after that, the only notable thing that I have here is Blair that having every moves. Blair has every moves. They also edited a little bit of clip with it. Of course, unfortunately, that clip was a narration by the one and only Miss Cracker, which we are going to skip. We are absolutely going to skip that. It's been enough. We've said enough. We've absolutely said enough. So we have this moment with Jujubee and Shay, in which Jujubee said, I got lifted up, and this bitch get thigh slaps? Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. When you look at the choreography, the one that they performed on the main stage, try to look at it, try to watch it a couple times, and keep attention to the moves. How much are you moving? Are the moves that you're doing difficult to keep your balance or not? Try to look at it, forget the song, forget how beautiful they look, forget the fact that we basically love all of them. Just look at the way they move. Cracker had almost nothing difficult. Nothing. Jujubee got picked up. Shay had everything, had to do a ton of stuff. And a ton of stuff doesn't only mean that if you are good at it, you're also going to look good, but it's a lot of stuff that you can mess up. It's a ton of stuff that you can mess up. So I would have liked a little bit more of objectivity when he actually gave out this choreography. Give a little bit of something to each one. I'm not saying that everybody has to be lifted up, but Cracker was basically on the stage during her own moves, the moves that she does. So this was kind of an illuminating moment. I am surprised that they left it in the final edit, but I think by this point this could have been one of those late edit that they added once they decided that people were not allowing World of Wonder to shove Cracker down their throat. They looked at the public vote, they checked on Reddit, they checked on YouTube, and found out that yes, we don't really like it when you force us to like someone. So I think and I hope that this was added afterwards. Once they realized there was no saving, that boat was not sailing. And I wonder if Cracker was given a little bit of a more complex routine. If we would have had like a moment like BB on All Stars 3. Do you remember this moment? And you have to understand, I'm not laughing at her. I'm laughing of the sympathy, because in her face you can really see that she's kind of scared. She's like, oh my God, I'm going to be dropped. I'm going to be dropped, It was a funny moment. It was a genuine funny moment. 100 times better than all the memeable faces and refilmed confessionals and forced comedy. This was genuine. I like this, and in a very good way. I like this. I like BB even more after this. So I wonder if this wasn't a wasted opportunity to give Cracker some proper humanity. Because that is also the problem, She's been shown on this show constantly as this goofy one and blah, and that's not human. She doesn't look like human. The way the editor portrayed her doesn't make her look human. Now, I don't like Cracker's behavior in real life, but at least it looks human. And if it looks human, it can be redeemable. That's the most important thing. But if it looks robotic, there is not much that you can work with. Remember Cameron Michaels? There is nothing there. There is absolutely nothing there. If you just watch the season. Moving on. We don't get to see the recording of the lyrics. We don't even get to see the writing of the lyrics. Even though this thing is probably going on for a whole day. We don't get to see any of that. Instead, we get a 10 minutes yada yada on this podcast called What's the Tea? Which we will lovably call Where's the Tea? Because it's a bunch of yada yada and buy this product because they paid us to sponsor this product on the show. So we are going to pass on this. I'm not going to comment on this. I'm not going to bore you. There's been enough of this stream already. So moving on, we have another one of Cracker relatable moments. Because of course, it's been 10 minutes, so we need another one of Cracker relatable moments, in which we find out, again, as if we didn't know that, that she was allowed to reshoot confessionals. When some queens get to have their confessionals doctored, when they have a bad episode and said, oh, you know what, my performance was like shit this episode. And then they take that 4 episodes later, put a queen saying another name, and now that queen is saying queen number 2 is shit. So some queens get that treatment. Other queens get to reshoot their confessionals until they are relatable and goofy enough for the good storyline that they get. And this is what angers me. It's not on Cracker, it's on the editors and the producers. Because the producers might be the ones saying, oh, listen, make this one look like shit. But the editors are the ones that choose how. So they can do it more subtle. They can do it like they do it. So You know, they get different queens get very, very different treatments on the show. And I do understand a little bit of bias, but this is not a little bit of bias. This is not a little bit of bias. This is completely disregarding some entertainers in order to elevate others. For some reason, well, because they have a big following. That's it. And of course, all of this goes on Cracker. Like, all of that went down, and season 12 went on Gigi Good. I mean, of course, both of them have done some crazy shit outside of the show, but still, it doesn't make things any better. So let's watch this last Cracker clip, and now we move on to the last part of this review.
The pressure is on. I have been fighting so long. I've been fighting hard for weeks. Physically, mentally, emotionally.
Oh, Amethyst Sapphires, Mrs. G. I didn't recognize you. Thank you for writing it in the chat. Sorry that, I read it like 10 minutes later, but I'm really trying, I'm really trying to follow the script, put on the material for the stream, and also take a look at the chat. I'm really trying. I'm very bad at multitasking, but I'm trying to make it as good as I can. So moving on, we have the main challenge. I think we said everything that we wanted to say about it, so I'm not going to talk too much about the performance itself. What I want to talk about is the fact that we had a runway for the eliminated queens, and this is really good because you have to understand this. These queens, they spend a ton of money on outfits, so at least having the possibility of showing their best one, at least for the last episode, is a very, very good thing. The one that I appreciated the most, of course I am biased. You know that I am biased. I'm disclosing it. But the one that I appreciated the most was Anginas. It was such a nice callback to the dress that Ivy Winters made in season 5. I don't know if you remember. She had all this dress made up of pictures of herself. So this dress that Angina has reminded me a lot of that. And of course, you know that I have a special spot for Ivy Winters, so I am biased. I cannot not be biased about this. Of the top 3 dresses, the one that I liked absolutely the most was Juju boobs. She had amazing boobs. she had an amazing outfit. The makeup was stunning. I don't know if there is a ton of filtering on it. Could be. But this old dress looks like it was no less than $10,000. I mean, it looks incredible. It was really good. It was really well done. And, I always feel a little bit guilty when I give them too much praise for the runway, because this adds up to the pressure that it's put at some point on these queens to spend more on garments, spend more on stylists, spend more, especially on All Stars. I imagine that all of these queens are going down a good 30, 40, maybe even 50,000 before going on All Stars. And for this season, they allegedly had only 2 weeks to prepare. So when you have 2 weeks, you are buying everything. You're not even getting a loan from someone, a dress from someone else, and do a little bit of. You don't have time to do any of that. You are just buying. So after this, we have the judges' critique, which was a ton of bullshit. It was a ton of bullshit. I'm not going into details, but I'm saying it was a ton of bullshit because they only said positive things about all of them. And saying these positive things was completely disingenuous, because the point is, when they were filming this, they had no idea who they would eventually decide to make into the winner. So they cannot afford to talk shit about anyone. They cannot afford to insult a queen. They cannot afford to give bad critiques. They cannot afford to be rude, because that queen might eventually be the one that the people want to win. For some reason, either because they only want her to win, or they don't want others to win, and they cannot afford this. So they came on, they are trying to desperately say everything positive about anyone. And if there is something that I really, really don't like is when people portray themselves as objective, and then whatever they're saying or doing as they have their own agenda. They have their own reasons why they're saying or doing whatever they're saying or doing. I absolutely dislike that. I cannot tolerate it. I find it unbearable. I can accept dissenting opinions. As a matter of fact, I actively look out for them because I need it as a reality check, as for me to understand, the way I base my opinion, the way I think about something. It's always healthy to listen to somebody who has the opposite opinion that you have. Of course, if there are the communication abilities from both sides to keep on the conversation, of course, otherwise it's torture. But I appreciate that. So I have no problem with subjectivity. I have a problem with subjectivity dressed on as objectivity. So I'm not even going to talk about these critiques because it's a bunch of yada yada yada, and it is how it is. So hey Fantasia, welcome back. So we move on to Untucked. We have this tiny little moment in Untucked, which I appreciated. I really appreciated. Derek looked absolutely fantastic. He looks like a Disney princess, which is strange because usually Derek looks like Britney. So they have this moment on the sofa, but that's not what I found interesting in this episode of Untucked. What I found interesting is that at the end of the episode, look on the picture of the left, to the right of Cracker's head. You see that whatever is on there has been blurred. And why has it been blurred, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's because there is a logo. You can see it on the right when they forgot to blur it, because apparently the editors, allegedly, they were too busy carrying on storylines to actually do their job and realize that if you have to blur a logo, you have to blur it. And you might ask, why do they need to blur it? And I think that the answer is because they didn't get paid for it. Because we get a ton of, can we call it masked advertisement? When they say, oh, this is sponsored by, this is offered by, this is, these are all companies that pay good money for that. And this company here probably didn't pay, which is why their logo got blurred out. So just a curiosity, just a minor thing that I noticed. So back to our top three. They changed the dresses for the lip sync. And what can I say? When I saw Shay, and this was mostly because of the wig, I was like, oh my god, is she going to remove that wig and have a ton of blue petals under it? I was like, blue petals, blue. It would have been so incredible. It would have been so incredible. So I was convinced she's going to have blue petals. All the lip sync, I was like, when are the blue petals coming? I think it would have been incredible, absolutely incredible. But maybe she didn't have time to prepare it. But looking at the wig, I think she might have had at least the idea of doing something like that, because that is almost an exact replica of what Sasha Velour wore in red for the final lip sync on season 9. So I was like, it would be perfect circle. It didn't happen, but in my fantasy, it did happen. She took off the wig. She had blue petals under it. She had a nice bald head under it, and she won and she's late. This is what went on in my fantasy. In reality, it was a little bit worse than that. Not because of Shay, but because of what was going around and the way it was presented. But before the lip sync even starts, we have a message from Monet and Trinity, and this is like the logo again. This is like, why don't you invite them? These are the past winners. Can't you really put them on a plane? And this was filmed in the summer of 2019. There was no quarantine going on. Couldn't you really stop for a moment, invite them in person, and do whatever it is that they're doing here. I mean, I didn't need to see the past winners for the last episode of All Stars, but if you're going to bring them on, at least bring them on in person. Come on. Drag Race is almost $1 billion brand. I don't know how much of that money they actually can spend for each episode, but I would say it's totally enough to pay for a plane ticket for these two of my favorite hoes and give them an hotel room and a little bit of compensation for coming. Come on. Drag Race is a big brand. At least bring them back. Don't show them at all or bring them back in person. This thing is... Oh, come on. Fantasia, Monet looked crazy. Well, that's also a little bit of her brand, isn't it? So, before the lip sync start, you have this moment with a confessional from Shay, which is incredible. We didn't get a relatable confessional in this moment, but we had a confessional from Shay. And she's like, I'm looking at that ground and it's right there. And in my mind, because you have to understand, it's a constant back and forth between reality and fantasy in my mind. In my mind, she picked up her dress, her skirt. She lifted her skirt, ran toward the crown, snatched it off, and ran away. Of course, that didn't happen. But and I swear I didn't drink. I wasn't high when I was watching this episode. That was my normality. But I was enjoying it. I was really enjoying it. So when they do this lip sync, one of the things that I noticed is that at the end they basically edited everybody out but Shay, and this is the typical edit for a lip sync winner. I find it somewhat demeaning because it implies that you need to only show this performer in order for people to agree that she's the rightful winner. And I think she didn't need it. I honestly think she didn't need it. Mostly because Juju B did really, really well in this lip sync. Probably even better than Shay. But you have seen my reviews. She didn't really do well in the competition from my perspective. There were issues with lip syncing when she was supposed to sing live. There were dresses who didn't really read as the runway theme. She looked a little bit down, which is understandable as well. If she talked about it on the show, but during this period she had just came out of I think a 12-year-old relationship. She was restructuring her life. She was kind of a little bit in her head. It's completely understandable. But when an opportunity like All Stars come, you just say, well, fuck whatever is going in my life. I have to take this opportunity. It's it's for my livelihood. So it's completely understandable. Nevertheless, for me, her performance was a little bit subpar during the whole All Stars. In the lip sync alone, yes, she was arguably better than Shay, but we didn't get to see that much. What I did appreciate is that not only they cut most of Cracker off, but they literally cut her out of the frame. Look at this frame. You see half of Cracker. That's how hard the producers took a turn for this last episode. Because one thing is not showing someone, but when you show just a piece of someone, it's like telling to your viewer, listen, she is here and she doesn't count. That is the message that I get when I see half of a person. If I don't see the person at all, what I think is, okay, she's not doing something interesting. But when I see half of it, it's like, we don't give a shit about it. She's out. And of course, there is the titty prop fiasco, which was a fiasco. I heard people online saying, well, but it was because the lighting was not good, the camera was not in the right position, and a ton of other things. What I think happened in here is that if they really had 2 weeks to prepare, Cracker didn't really have the time to have a professional doing her prop. You know what I think happened? I will tell you what it was supposed to happen. Basically, these fake titties are like hair tight chambers. The chamber was supposed to put under pressure with a compressed hair bottle, I think, and of course filled with glitter. So when she removed the caps, the hair pressure was supposed to basically puff out all of this, a huge cloud of glitter around her. At least that was the idea. The point is, if you want to have a prop like that, you cannot have just glitter put there and then pressurize the chamber and then expect that it's going to go well. You have to do it in a totally different way. You have to create like a kind of holder for the glitter in front of the opening, and then put the pressurized hair behind it, so that when you release the pressure, the hair has to merge with the glitters, and then everything comes out. Because here what it happens is that on the top of the opening, the pressurized air went out, and then the glitter was left to just fall on the floor, whatever it is. You can see it's literally dripping from the. Oh my God, I cannot. Sorry. So this is not sexual. But basically, it's there. It's there. Let's keep it at that. My God, let's keep it at that. But when I was watching this, the only thought that I had was not, oh, poor Cracker, oh, she had a prop fail, or she didn't have time to prepare. What I thought is karma. This is karma, bitch, because you badmouthed Asia all the way along with all this interview and all this passive aggressiveness and all this fake relatability and judgment and so on to someone who just expressed an opinion, and you didn't even had the how can I say, the quickness to say, what do you mean by star? What do you mean by that? Because maybe what you mean by that is what I mean. It's not what I mean. So what you say basically has no meaning for me. No, she immediately took it personal. And this is what I think. This is karma. Remember what happened to Asia when she did her finale lip sync with the butterfly fiasco? Yeah, that was a prop failure. And what ended Cracker doing? A prop failure, which is karma. So, I'll just keep it at that, and then we finally close this page, and we will reopen it up for a brief moment in a future video about it. If we will still have a channel, by the way, we'll see about that. Another thing that was interesting was Shay's face when Cracker was desperately trying to shake this glitter out of the cone titties. I appreciated that. I think it was really snarky coming from Shay, because she really looks like she's trying to make an impression of Cracker trying to be goofy and relatable, which she probably did a lot. Can you imagine it? Can you imagine it? Filming with Cracker doing that basically every 20 minutes. Anyway, I appreciated that. By the end, of course, Shay won. She was the most deserving for me. I'm not saying this because, everything that happened and this and that, and she was just the most deserving. She was the most real, the most professional, the one that, for me, served the most worthy looks, the most thought out looks. She was consistent, and she's a good performer. So I would have been okay with Jujubee, even though I didn't really think that she gave her best, justifiably, but I didn't really think that she gave her best. I would have loved for Jujubee to be part of this All Stars winner. I would have really loved it, because God knows we need an Asian queen, and there is no better Asian queen, in my opinion, from the Drag Race brand like Jujubee. So I would have really appreciated that, but it just wouldn't have felt right. Just wouldn't have felt right, because from episode 1, I'm saying, what's going on with Jujubee? She's been underwhelming. So I was happy with the winner, which is incredible, which is incredible because, you know, this year for the first time since season 6, I am rooting from someone since the beginning, and not once but twice it happens that the person I'm rooting for is actually winning, because at some point, you know, when you go with season 7 and then with season 8 and then with All Stars and then with season 9 and then All Stars again and then season 10, 11, and you think, you know what, I am not the target audience anymore. The people that appeal to me are never going to win. It's plain. It's as simple as that. So I was kind of resigned to the fact. Well, root for whoever you want to root and enjoy the time that they get to get on screen. So I you know, it's nice. It felt nice. It felt nice. Let's go on to the comments, since Ivan Dominguez came and Montana Banana. Montana Banana said, I did think Juju was great. Yeah, she was great in the lip sync. She was great in the lip sync. In the season, you know, maybe it was also that start with that lip sync that was supposed to be live singing. I don't know. Corelio, yes, for split screens. They did it once in Canada and I loved it, but it seems harder to edit things the way they want. Well, I don't know. I don't know if a split screen would be the best way to edit a lip sync. I would simply, like, you know, make the stage a tiny bit smaller. On, you know, at least a usable part. Put the camera behind it and make me see all 3 of them at the same time. Just it. It's just that. Then, if I want to see the performance more in detail, I can come to the YouTube channel, I can go to the VH1 site and look a performance with a close-up of only one performer. That I would really appreciate, because think about it, the lip sync is one of the best things in the episodes of Drag Race. It's also one of the most iconic things. Yet what we get is a third of the song, so only a third of a performance, then this camera moving, and of course editing has a lot to do with it, because based on the storyline we get a different take on the lip sync. So some things we don't get to see, other things we get to see. Remember in All Stars when there was the lip sync with Naomi Smalls and oh god, how is she called? My god, I'm getting old. I'm getting so old. Versus Gia Gunn. We saw absolutely nothing of Gia. We saw absolutely nothing. Sorry, I'm laughing because somebody is mentioning fracking again. Because, you know, it never gets old, does it? It never gets old. You know what I will do? You know that end clip of when you watch one of World of Wonders videos, when you have RuPaul coming out with this ultra fake titties saying, "Hey, squirrel friends," when one video, and I'm going to do something about fracking with it. What do you think about it? Just to give a touch of class to my next videos. CDP, did you watch Canada's Drag Race? If so, what did you think of it? Did you like it? I didn't watch it. Mr. Invisible watched it. Mr. Invisible watched it, and he had a ton of opinions on it, and I asked him, could you please not share them, because I would like to watch it at some point. I don't want to get spoilers, and then I got spoiled anyway. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. You know, there is the channel, then you go and read at the comments, then you're on YouTube, then you get thumbnails, then you go a little bit of Reddit, and Reddit, you know, is understanding with spoilers, but only for a couple of days, maybe even just one day. After that, it's fair game, which is more than enough. So it's my fault. I should have just, you know, went off the internet. But then again, I'm also one of those kind of people that appreciate the journey a lot rather than necessarily the point of arrival. So even though I know everything about it, all of the spoilers about it, I'm curious to see how they're going to edit it. what's the fuss about with all the judges and so on, because I'm basically a virgin. I watched episode 1. Only watched episode 1, and then I decided I need a break from Drag Race, because otherwise I cannot concentrate on doing the videos for the channel. I cannot spend all of my free time with Canada's Drag Race, and then you have a Secret Celebrity, which I stopped watching, and then there was All Stars, and then I think Drag Race Holland is coming. There is so much. The brand is growing. The brand is healthy and growing. So we are going to see. I'm going to talk about Canada's Drag Race. Maybe we can do a stream, and once I've watched the whole season, and I can tell you what I think. That we can do, but no, I didn't watch it. From what I got from episode 1, it felt like such a breath of fresh air. So we'll see what it is. I'm hearing good things about it, apart from, the controversy with the judges who are basically insulting the contestants. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting experience. Now, moving on. I have a couple of things that I want to share with you about the channel. So you know that I am really, really late with all the videos. Mostly because I am unable to just work on a video. That's something that I cannot do. I cannot sit there and edit one thing, start to finish, and just work on that. Even though, from an editing perspective, it's much healthier to do one thing and work on that one thing. Because when you can work on something 1 or 2 hours a day, every time you pick it up, you have to how can I say, you have to, for a moment, you have to take 10 minutes to remember what is it that you're doing and what you were planning on doing. So it's much healthier to just work on a project, but I cannot. I get bored. That's the point. I work on something and then I get bored, and then I have an idea and I can do something else and something else and something else, to the point where we have almost 20 videos in various stages of development. Some are partially edited. Some only have a script for it. Some have a script, a voiceover, and part of the editing. It's a mess. It's a complete mess. And it's completely unprofessional on my side. But then again, this channel is not really a job. It's more of an hobby. So I give myself a pass for it. Nevertheless, it's been months since we had videos out. So what I said it on Discord, I said it on the Patreon, I think I said it also on the community tab of YouTube. We are going to give the streams a break. We're going to make 1 streams a month instead of every week. I still want to do the streaming because I appreciate this back and forth time that we have during the streams, but the reality is, if I have to prepare a stream, I basically lose my free weekend only preparing the stream. Of course, during the Drag Race season is another story, because with the editing and all of this stuff going on, the episode comes out on Friday, and then you have to furiously work through Saturday and Sunday to get the stream out as soon as possible, so that things don't get conflated too much. We can go through everything shoddy that's going on during the show, so it feels kind of necessary to do the streams as soon as possible. But now that we are, seems like, officially off season, I'm going to do 1 stream a month. And this will also give me time to finish editing all of these videos, because otherwise, if I have some videos out, you guys have something to watch. Maybe we even get something from the monetization, which speeds up the process of getting proper equipment for the channel. But if they just stay there, they just remain incomplete ideas that could have been entertaining, could have been also been stupid, but they just remain there and nobody will watch them. So I will concentrate on that. So, oh, it's more professional than fracking. Oh my god. Fantasia, how do you think you're gonna keep from getting spoiled from the winners? There's no keeping that. There's no keeping that. You're always going to get spoiled. You're always going to get spoiled, unless we live in a cabin in a wood. So, what are we going to do during these streams? Well, if there is anything that you would like to talk about, that I actually have something to say about it, that I have at least an informed opinion, and not just blah 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 and blah blah blah, and this is what I think, and nobody is interested in that. It's interested when you actually have done a little bit of research, you have a little bit of knowledge on things. So if I'm qualified to talk on different topics, we can talk about them. So you can leave the suggestions on the Discord. There is a link for the Discord in the description of the video. You can leave them as comments on the videos, the community section on YouTube, the Twitter, wherever you want. Wherever you have a suggestion, something that you would like to talk about. It's one stream a month, so I have all the time to prepare. Something that I have kind of almost prepared was a review of Trixie's movie, Moving Parts. I did manage to watch the movie. Some of you said that it felt kind of manipulative on some things, and I absolutely understand what you mean by that, because I clocked a couple, maybe even 3 or 4 things that were really, really, really manipulative in a way. Overall, I'm happy that this movie is out. Overall. But yes, there were a couple of things here and there, so I wouldn't dislike making a review of it, taking some clips, showing some still image. I would kind of enjoy talking about that, if you like it. So we will see. We will see by the end of the month. What I will probably do, once I get enough suggestions of things that I might be qualified to talk about, I will just make a poll on the community section of the channel. And then we decide what to do. Now, speaking of that, speaking of the channel, I am hoping to get at least a video out every couple weeks. I will be just working on that. There are no other distractions. There are no mice cage to be redone, no furniture to be repaired, and no other things. So I will be giving my free times for the next until December to the channel. And hoping that with these copyright claims they calm down a little bit, and that we can finally make enough to buy new equipment for the channel. And after that, we can go wild. After that, we can go absolutely wild. They demonetize us, who gives a shit? They private a video, who gives a shit? We put it somewhere else. After that, we can go wild. But until that moment comes, we have to kind of, keep it cute, keep it normal, but after that, we're going to talk about some things. We're going to talk about Miss Cracker, we're going to talk about Nina West, we're going to talking of a lot of things. So we will see about that. Now, talking about channel and money, I received a couple of interesting email. If you're interested, this one, and I'm showing you this because Amateur Season has a channel here on YouTube. So I wanted to give an advice. I received this image from this Ala, who is manager at Hair Mediatek, offering to be a YouTube partner E. It's not even spelled correctly. And I want to talk about the partnership program on YouTube when offered by a network. Now, if you get monetized by YouTube, that is one thing, okay? But if you cannot get monetized, either because it was like us, so for some reason they wouldn't monetize us for years, or you are a small channel and you don't even reach the 1,000 subscribers and the number of views that they want to get monetized, you might think maybe it's a good idea to become part of a network, because at least you get some monetization, right? Well, that's absolutely wrong. No money is better. No money is better. When you become a partner with these networks, they can take out as much as 60% of your revenue, especially if you're a teeny tiny channel. If you're a big channel, they will try to keep it as low as they can so that you don't walk away. But if you're a tiny channel, 50 to 60% of what you earn, they keep. Worse than that, of that 40% that you get, now you have to pay more taxes on it. Because you need this is something that viewers on YouTube do not know. But when we get paid by YouTube from the partner program, we have to pay taxes on it. And paying taxes is not, you have to consult someone. You have to pay for a consultation, then you have to pay for making the documents to declare the money that you're earning, and then you have to pay taxes on top of that. Now in Europe, since Google resides legally in Ireland, we have one thing called reversibility of VAT. The value added, the added value tax. So we don't pay that when we declare our taxes. The only thing that we pay are the taxes and the state taxes. I live in a state where, for example, most of the we have a lot of social security. So when you pay taxes on whatever you earn, they're going to be high. We pay as much as 50 to 60% of taxes. Excluding VAT, okay? So, but at least you do not pay the VAT if you're paid by YouTube. But if you are paid by these companies, they don't pay VAT from the money they get from YouTube, but you have to pay VAT from the money you get from them. So of your money, they keep 60%. Of the 40% that you get, you have to pay your normal taxes plus VAT. You end up with nothing. You end up with absolutely nothing. And then what happens is that you are stuck with a 2 years contract in which they basically own you. They offer you basically no publicity. They offer you no, how can I say, you don't get clicks from them. You don't get views from them. You don't really get publicized by them. And if you have copyright problems, they're not going to be able to solve it. Because even though you will be affiliated with them, then the burden of proof when it comes to alleged copyright infringement is on you personally, not on them. What they can do is tell you, oh, you did this video, maybe you should not dispute the claim because this and this reason. You know, advice that anybody else on YouTube could give you. Probably who have more direct experience of it. There are also lawyers here on YouTube talking about this. You get absolutely no benefits from doing this. It's basically a legalized scam. Do not affiliate to a network. It's better not to earn anything. Trust me, it's better not to earn anything than getting into this 2 years contract. So of course we trash the email. But there is something else. We received this email from a company asking to advertise for them. Looks like we are kind of famous enough for that, aren't we? My God. This is a company that makes glasses and prescription glasses, mind you. So for a little bit of publicity, they are happy to send me a pair of prescription lenses and shipping fees. And one of the requirements is to send them a photo of me. And I'm like, come on, come on. Did they even watch the channel? I made a point of never showing myself. You don't even know my name. And they tell me I don't even wear glasses, you know. Here we offer you prescription glasses. My God. This is ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. Good thing that I'm laughing about it. Some people get depressed. They say, you know, we need a sponsor. I mean, God knows, if a sponsor would come on and say, listen, I will give you $2,000 and per video, we can do 10 video sponsorship, but you have to talk for 3 minutes about our products. Would you do it? Well, yes, I would do it. I would probably do it. We can power through that and Whatever it is, I wouldn't like it, but we need equipment. So yes, for that one time I would do it. Other than that, absolutely not. What is this? I mean, if you need it, I understand shilling. I completely understand it, but we don't need it. It's not like I need to get an advertiser on in order to pay my rent. I don't. Of course, I need new equipment, but that is one thing. So, I find it funny. We receive a lot of these emails. So if you have a amateur season, what are you saying? You say, wait, we know your name. It's Top RPDR videos. Well, I decided on a nickname. I wanted to say it in the beginning of the video, but then I forgot. So between you and me, you can call me Matt, which is, of course, it's not my real name. It's a nickname, but incidentally is the real name of somebody that I follow who managed for many, many, many years to keep his real name private. So I'm going to take his real name and use it as my nickname, hoping that one day in 10 years, if my real name comes out, somebody will use it as their nickname. So we're going to go like that. Fantasia, do you think any may be spam or scam? Yes, we do receive a ton of spam and scam. These were legit ones. These were the two legit ones that we got. We get other emails, but when they are a scam, you recognize it immediately because they don't even mention your channel by name. They are not clear about what they are offering. They come and say, oh, we would like to advertise on your channel. Let me know. Click here, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. They do not actually describe what they want you to do. They do not tell you what they are offering you. So you recognize the scams. These were two of the legit ones that I found on my email client a couple of days ago. I think it was interesting to show you. And now, oh, guys, I forgot. Now that it's been an hour and a half since we've been on the stream, so it's only us, the usual ones, the intimate ones. I told you that this month I would have taken a pause, mostly because I had that problem with this abscess on the bone, so I had that taken care of. They pulled off my tooth. They cleaned up the bone. It reached next to my sinus, so of course, judging by the pain, I knew that something was not going to be very nice about it. So it ate away my bone until my sinus. So, but I had it done. I had it done in the beginning of August. Took a couple of weeks to get back to normal. So I said, you know what? Since this is going to go on, I will take a pause. I will not work on the channel. I cannot speak, so I won't really be doing any streams, and so on and so on. The reality is that then an idea came, and I couldn't resist. So yes, I couldn't work on the computer. Yes, I was in bed. Yes, I couldn't really speak, but I managed to write down something. Mrs. G, glad you're good. Thank you. I feel so much better. I think you can also hear it that I feel so much better. Now that thing is out of the way, I created a parody song. It's stupid. It's really stupid. But I also tried to kind of make it a little bit smart, a little bit intelligent, if you will. Not too much, because the point here is having fun with it. So this parody song it will be probably the third video that it's going to come out. I would probably like to make videos on these two articles. Maybe it depends on how I think, but the first real video that needs to come out is part of the GG series. Then we'll have a normal video, a usual video for the channel, because those are the ones that really pay the bill. And we need to at least try to alternate between doing all the commentary thing that we do on the streams and so on, and do more, how can I say, marketable videos. I know how it sounds, but it pays the bills. I enjoy doing them. It's not that I don't enjoy them, but I enjoy more doing commentary. I enjoy it much more. So after that, I want to release this parody song. Now the point is, I might have convinced Mr. Invisible to sing it with me because he's the one who can actually sing. So, but then I thought, why not sing it along with you guys so that at least his voice would mix up, would be lost in the mix. You know what I mean? And it would also be a nice thing to know, to do with all together. And you can do whatever you want with it. You can sing along with it. You can make reaction with it, and then we will edit it all in a video. You can do whatever you want with it. When the video is out, what I will do is record a song, make a temporary video of it, and then send you a private link to all of you who want to sing along with us. And you can do whatever you want. You can do really whatever you want. Give face, give reaction, sing along, whatever it is that you want to do it. We could do it. And this video is going to be a parody song of Under the Sea with Nina West. It's going to be about Nina West. So, guys, if you feel like it, let me know what you think about it. I know it's crazy. I know it's stupid. And I know some people are really going to hate it. But I am going to have a ton of fun. I had a ton of fun writing the lyrics. Really. I had a ton of fun writing the lyrics. So let me know what you think about it. And if we do all of this together, it would be a ton of fun. If we don't do it, it will come out anyway. Don't worry. It's the lyrics are already written. The bass is already there. I already tried to sing it. It sounded like shit, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be so much fun. So let's get the 2 videos out that I absolutely need to get out. After that, I will edit all of these things out, and so that you guys can have material, or at least a base to sing along, or at least something, a reference, so that at least you have an idea of what it is that you're doing. And after that, we will gather all the material, edit it all, and then we will make a private premiere on Discord or on Twitch, somewhere else when it's just us, and then we will publish it on YouTube. Of course, we won't get any money out of it, because even though it's fair use, even though it's it's kind of it's a parody. It's a parody. It's music. That's the point for YouTube. It's music. So the moment I publish this, I will get a copyright claim. We won't get any money out of it. But honestly, who gives a shit? The point is, let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. Let's take something controversial like what has been going on with Nina West and have a genuine laugh about it. And if by the end of the day we had a nice time and we also managed to send a nice message out there, then the better. So that is for the future projects. Do I have anything else? Oh yes, I wanted to give you an update on the channel goals. We are at about $650 of usable money. So our first goal was to get to at least 2,000, and then we will add the rest from our own, because after all we need a new computer. But it would be nice if we would manage to get the channel to reach the 3,000 mark, so that the channel basically can pay for itself. It would be nice. So we are almost there. Of course, that's not all the money that we got from, because there are taxes that are paid on that as well. But of course, part of it is put aside for when we need legal advice, when we receive copyright notifications, because in the past we used to pay with our own money. Now we managed to set, I think we have left about 700 of it, maybe a little bit less, because we set 1,000 aside. So it's like it was 1,600. So it's going good. Of course, a successful channel make that kind of money in 2 weeks, and we have been making them in like 6 months. But the hell with it. It's good. It's not bad. It's encouraging in a way. Last year we were making 0. So let's hope this thing goes on as soon as possible. The sooner it comes, the faster I can finally make videos. Which, by the way, I should have formatted my computer in this vacation holiday time, and I didn't. So tomorrow the first thing that I have to do is format my computer and disable Windows updates, because if you remember, I formatted it like 2 weeks ago, and not 2 weeks ago, sorry, 2 months ago. But then the Windows update came in again, and they absolutely brick my computer. I don't know what they have in these updates that it slows it down by 60-70%. This is also the reason why I cannot play videos on stream, or music. It comes out all ragged, and it's not smooth. That's not because of the connection. The connection is good. It's my laptop. So I will format it, disable all of the Windows updates, and hopefully it will be faster and smoother. Not ideal, but better than before. So I have to do that. What else do I have on the list? I am smoking again. It's, I know. It feels a little bit like shit, but the problem with this that when you have I should stop talking with this you and put the responsibility where it matters. When I get too much stressed up, no matter how long it took to quit, no matter how much time has passed, I inevitably revert back to that. So when that thing happened with the teeth and so on, and I thought, you know what, I need a cigarette. I cannot take it anymore. I need a cigarette. So I picked up smoking again. So do not invest emotionally in my battle against smoking, because you will be disappointed. I will disappoint you, because I've been disappointing myself for years. At this point, an heavy addicted person like me, who has smoked for years and years, 1 to 2 packets a day, I reached a point in my life in which I say, you know what, I managed to quit for 3 months. It's better than nothing. I managed to quit for 3 months. Now I've been smoking for a month. I've been trying to quit again this week, and I smoked not even a package for the whole week, which is still better than 2 packets a day, or even 1 packet a day. So I will try again, and then probably will fail again in 3 months. But all the time that I don't spend smoking, it's more health for me. So I'll try again. I am trying again, and let's hope that the conditions will be better, because when you are heavily addicted, yes, of course, part of it is on you. You have to have a little bit of will. You have to be a little bit smart about it. You have to put yourself in the best condition possible to actually quit what you're addicted to. But after all of that, the rest depends on the environment and what's happening in your life. When I feel like I really, really need a cigarette because something huge has happened and I am in so much stress that I need a cigarette. And when my partner sees me like that, it doesn't say things like, okay, but listen, you've been not smoking for 3 months. Maybe let's take a walk. Let's do something. I will distract you. No, when he sees me in pain like that, what he says is, yes, I'll go get you cigarettes. And, you need to have the will to begin with. But around that, you also have to have a kind of a network around you that when those moments hits, they help you a little bit, because every time I fall and I go to my partner and say, listen, I need a cigarette because this and this, and he says, okay, I will get you one. I mean, he's a nice person. is really a nice person. He does this out of kindness. But when you're dealing with somebody that is addicted, what you need is to be harsh with them, understanding but harsh. You are not getting cigarettes. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see by the end of the month, and then hopefully I will be a complete vape douchebag again. Let's go back to a couple of comments. Fantasia, oh my god, that would be so cool. Mrs. G is laughing. Jack Hermanson, I miss season 12. In a way, I miss it too. You know what I miss about season 12? Jackie Cox remarks. That's what I miss. She was such a shady bitch. Amateur season. That sounds amazing. Yes, if we can do this parody, it would really be amazing. It would be so stupid, but it would be amazing to do it together. Fantasia, what Nina been getting into? Well, not much recently, because of course, the quarantine and so on, there have not been many live shows. But the problem is that Nina looks like she has a thing for feet. And it looks like she uses her drag shows as plausible deniability for basically scoring some feet from hot guys. Because when you look at the oh my god, the videos that you find online from her live shows, and you look at the guys to which she is doing this sort of number, they all seem to be in a special category. They all seem to be in their late 20s, early 30s, all hot guys. All of them, they're all men. They're all white men, and people that have been to her live shows. And I don't know how reliable this is, because when people sometimes they want to hate someone, they just hate someone and they come up saying crazy shit. But a couple of people came out saying, yes, when she chooses the person, she kind of look around like she's not just picking someone from the crowd. It looks like she's actively choosing them. And, I was curious about this choosing thing. Is it real? Is it not real? Can I find a video when I can see this thing actually happening? And it looks like it's actually happening. And then you look at these people and they all fit a profile. And all of this is under this plausible deniability that it's just a live show. It's just a provocative number on a live show. But at some point, is that really the point? Is it really the point? Because, yeah, maybe it is just a live show, and maybe it's something so disgusting for you that you at least think, well, if I have to do it, at least I can do it to hot guys. But then again, do you have to do that number? Because you're not forced to do it. So, it's, and most of all, why would you put yourself in the situation in which people can legitimately say, it looks like you're taking advantage of your shows to score some feet from hot guys? Why would you put yourself in that situation? And your brand is being a Disney princess. So of course we're going to make fun of it. And of course we're going to make fun of it from a Disney song. Because, it all fits so well. It all fits so well. So this is what has been going on. I mean, if you go on Reddit, people refer to Nina West as Nina South, and by South they mean feet, because for months everything that we've been getting from Nina West was feet. And you have to understand, I have nothing against that practice. If that is what turns you on and is consensual, then it's your thing. Who cares? I'm not here to judge you. But what I do judge is that this thing really looks like plausible deniability. It really looks like it. I gotta be honest. That's how I feel about it. And when you look at all the evidence, it starts to, you really get in that space in which you say, well, it doesn't matter how much I try to justify this thing. If I take 100 people and showed all of this, 99% of them, they're going to say she's taking advantage of her position. and that is what matters. So, yeah, we're going to make fun of it. We are going to make fun of it because it is funny. It is funny. It's not just about the thing themselves. It's how the situation has been handled. She is joking about it online, not taking this thing seriously. And in a time in which we've seen queens like Sherry Pie doing, and it's nothing remotely similar to that, but it was basically taking advantage of other people while disguising it as something else. And on some level, the two things are kind of, the analogy is kind of there. So I would have expected to at least something to come out, to explain this thing. If her manager asked her to do this number, but she's been doing this for years, guys. That's the point. She's been doing this for years. It's not just a number for the latest tour. There are videos that are 6-7 years old. So that's it. That's what this song will be about. Now, do I have anything else that I wanted to talk about? I don't think so. Oh, Marble. I have an update on Marble. We went to the vet 3 more times since we talked about it in, I think it was late July. We had one appointment the beginning of August, then the end of August, and then last week again. She's fine. She's getting old. Because, being a year and a half old in my skiers, it's like being 60, 65. She's getting old. But she's holding well. She's holding really well. She had mites. She recovered from it. She had to go through, she had to get the medication 4 times to actually get completely rid of them, which is normal. Her cage was sanded, rebuilt. Parts that needed to be changed were changed. She's doing fine. She's living the best life. She's in her habitat at this point. My partner calls it the villa, the mansion. She's in the mansion. So she is fine. Thank God. Thank God. We will enjoy her for the time that we have to enjoy together. And then whatever happens, happens. Fantasia said the picture is so funny. She looks so devious. This image actually comes from an advertisement from RuPaul's Celebrity Drag Race. Nina West was on episode 3. And they filmed a kind of advertise from it, and in a moment she had this look on her face when she really looks devious. She really looks devious. That's why I chose this image to begin with. I wasn't sure about the thumbnail. Maybe I should have blended it a little bit better, the neckline, but somehow I do enjoy the contrast of it. It looks more amateurish. Which is something that I think fits the team somehow. Oh, amateur season, that is so cute. That is so cute. She said, what if Marble gets his own show, like Marble's Drag Race, may the best mouse wins? That would be so cute. That would be adorable. But you have to have a lot of free time to do that, and also the mouse has to collaborate. And I wanted to make some sketches with her for the chop, but then I thought, what, she's living her best life on her own. Why should I train her to do some things on it? Would be really cute, but ultimately she is kind of an independent mouse. She doesn't really like humans. She doesn't like to be pet. She will come on your hand if you have a treat for her. So I don't think that would be the best thing for her. It would be really cute, but her well-being is her well-being, and she's happy there. She has trips outside of the mansion from time to time. Sometimes she comes on the bed with us. She poops on the bed, of course, because she's a mouse. They don't really have control over their bowels. But Yeah, it would be really cute, but it's not really going to happen. Yon355 says, I watched season 12 after it aired and stopped a month ago halfway because it was so whatever to me. I almost only watch All Stars. Well, season 12, we talked a lot. We made a stream for each episode of season 12. It depends on what you mean by whatever. They went really, really hard in trying to sell Gigi. It was it made me dislike Gigi on screen, despite the fact that I have nothing against her. It was just the edit. It was like Miss Cracker for season 5 of All Stars. It's just so harsh, so badly done, so badly done. It's too much. It's too much. I like Nina, but if beauty is in the eye of the beholder, when I see her, I don't behold anything. Well, no comments. No comments. I won't comment that. Amateur season. I want Sugarcane to be on All Stars. I want Jocelyn Fox to be on All Stars. Does anybody respond? How do you? I play Jocelyn Fox on amateur season Sugarcane. What are you going to play against my Jocelyn Fox? This says shade. Yes, yes, that was shade. Nora, I'm going to call you just Nora because the last part of the name is kind of unreadable to me. Nora said, I didn't like season 12 at first, but it did get better when I got used to the editing style. That's really nice of you to call it a style. That's really nice. Yoon said, yes, but I can't be prepared for all the honey Shugs gonna say. Oh, for all the honeys. It felt disconnected, like a diluted drag race. I don't think they pushed Gigi as much to me. She was just coasting. I'm glad I made you laugh. Yes, it doesn't take long. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. But thank you. I appreciate a good laugh and some good shade. Some good shade because I don't think Nina necessarily looked that bad as a man. Granted, I prefer bigger men with a beard possibly, so I'm a little bit biased with it. But yes, as a drag queen, she doesn't really look how can I put it nicely? Feminine, she looks like a caricature some way, which is what a drag queen used to, that was the style of drag queens in the late 90s. How I came to know drag, for example, the style of Nina West, absolutely over the top, absolutely exaggerated, absolutely in a way, how can I say, with this contrasts in the face, I don't parts of the face that look really feminine with then exaggerated eyes that absolutely look nothing like a real woman. That's how I perceive. I began to perceive drag. Now drag is mostly looking good as a woman. Well, this is the drag race effect. We'll see how it evolves. Let's be glad that it's mainstream. Let's be glad that this entertainment get to make real money, not just crap money and a little bit of trade on the side. Amateur season. I played Jessica Wilde against your Jocelyn Fox. Oh, you bitch! You played Jessica Wilde. Oh my God! How can you win against Jessica Wilde? Well, then I'm going to play Ivy Winters. How are we going to match that? Yoon said, yeah, older season drag queens on All Stars. Yes, let's bring the old ones. Let's bring Jade Sotomayor. I've been waiting for Jade for years, and her drag changed immensely. She looked so beautiful. She looks so beautiful. If she has the talent to back it up, she can make a whole brand new career for herself. Fantasia, oh, I'm with Amateur. A card may got Jocelyn. I don't know if we'll ever get Jocelyn Fox. I don't know if she quit drag, if she's not doing it anymore, if I hear nothing about Jocelyn. Ever. Not even on Reddit. Apart from the occasional post saying, it's usually appreciation posts, things like, oh, can we appreciate this time Jocelyn put her hand in the pink furry box and she was afraid that maybe there was a vagina. There was a vagina. So, things like this, but you never really get like things like, oh, I met Jocelyn Fox at a show. It's like she disappeared, she disappeared. There are more posts about Serena Chacha than there are about Jocelyn Fox. And which is completely, it baffles me. I mean, Jocelyn would absolutely be fantastic for All Stars. She would do it. People would love to see it. Every time I make a video and we see something of Jocelyn, there are tons of comments of people basically loving Jocelyn. I never see anything bad talked about her. Anything. Amateur season, I played Jade Sotomayor against your Ivy Winters. Amateur season, I'm not playing anymore. I'm not playing with you. You stole that card. I saw you. You stole that card from me. You and I play Rebecca Glasscock. Just so they have to say her name on VH1. Mrs. G, do you all miss Serena Chacha? Well, from the style point of view, she had immense growth. Since probably she stopped doing that visual sculpture thing that she studied for. But at DragCon, she had beautiful gown, beautiful dresses, which is important as a drag queen, is as important as the way you relate to the audience and the kind of show that you put on. It's also about how you look. And a ton of people appreciated the fact that at last DragCon, Serena Chacha was basically the living joke of Drag Race. She came with this beautiful golden gown with ton of accessory. It was fantastic. And then Evie Oddly came out with a ripped shirt and something written on it. And people made jokes about it, saying, listen, this is the Serena Chacha, the joke of Drag Race. Look how she was dressed. This is the winner of season 11. Look how she was dressed. So, RuPaul's Drag Race was better when it was on Logo. Well, yeah, it depends what you mean by better. If you mean that you enjoyed it more, I am completely with you on it. It was so stupid, but at the same time it was also so smart. It was entertaining, it was queer entertainment. It wasn't littered with all this forced thing that they have to put on to make everything simple, everything in black and white, because now you are trying to appeal to a mass audience. And when you want to appeal to a mass audience, you have to be as bland as you can possibly be so that you will appeal to everybody. All of these things were not there when the show was on Logo. I completely agree with you. I enjoyed those seasons so much more. I enjoyed them so much more that even season 7, that was the season that I disliked the most from let's say the whole Drag Race. In time, I came to realize how good it really was, because it's becoming much and much more enjoyable every time I rewatch it. That's how good it was, Drag Race on VH1, on Logo. Now, apart from season 9, which was a little bit of a transition season, I'm not really enjoying season 10, 11, and 12 that much. And the people who follow the channel closely know that I really have difficulties. Sometimes I confuse queens from season 10 to season 11. I mix them up because to me both of these seasons kind of felt drained. I don't know if you know what I mean. They kind of felt drained, like robbed of their essence in a way. Yoon said, didn't know Jocelyn stopped drag. No, she didn't stop doing drag. That was just my thought for justifying the fact that I don't see much of it. Of course, you could also say you don't see much of it because you never use social media, not even for the channel, which is true. I never do it. So that could also be part of it. But the people of Reddit use it a lot. So I thought, maybe that's why we don't see that much of her. It could also be that simply nobody remembers her for some reason. I thought the last one was Robbie Turner. You guys know what went on with Robbie Turner, don't you? That's why she basically disappeared from media. It just, well, what can you do about it? Amateur season. I want to see more Serena Chacha. I would like to see a good redemption story done with Serena Chacha if she has the talent to back it up, to back up a redemption story. If it's not a fake one, that's what I mean. Yes, I would appreciate that. It would be something different. If you watch All Stars 4 and 5, they kind of felt again a little bit. I don't know. I don't want to say badly done, but it's also 1 a.m, so I'm kind of losing my verbal abilities here. So please try to understand me. It felt kind of like it wasn't there, like the producers were not there doing the show. It felt like they were season kind of left on their own. They didn't really put a heart on it. They didn't really try to make it memorable. I mean, when All Stars 2 came out, yes, of course, there was this thing with Alaska and so on, and many people absolutely hated some of the edit, but, everyone kind of agreed that it was entertaining. Maybe for very different reasons, but everybody kind of agreed with it. But the last seasons, I don't know. Lady Baconator, season 7 had a good cast overall. The only problem seemed to be that the challenges did not play to those queens' strength. Yes, the choice of the challenges was really questionable, and it was written also so bad. Do you remember that? What was it? Shakespeare, when they had this fake moment with Rue hangry because they didn't do their job and blah 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 and blah blah. It was written so poorly. It was one of the first example of the show trying to be meta, trying to be aware of the fact that it had a fandom, that fandom was developing its own culture, its own memes, and so on. And it was the very first time in which I saw the show trying to be on that meta level, which of course it's forgettable, the fact that it came off really bad because it was one of their first trial. They did better after that. If you think of, for example, seeing Stacey Lane Matthews, why do you think she was brought back as a guest on All Stars 4? Because for years and years and years, people did their best to mimify her. With this Hanny, and that happened on Reddit, that happened on YouTube, that happened on Twitter. And when something resonates so much and it comes directly from the fans, of course they try to incorporate it, because you have to give your viewers what they want. You also have to make money, but you also have to give the viewers what they want. Yoon said, even season 7 is better than VH1 season, and that's telling a whole lot. Well, let's not be so hard on season 7, because after all, yes, it was different. It was a transitional season. All season 7, 8, and 9 for me are transitional seasons. They have this kind of try to accept the mainstream idea of making a show that was going to be mainstream in season 7. Then they completely fucked it up, so they reverted back to a more to a clone season, because season 8 looked strangely similar to season 6, and then they completely jumped the shark on season 9. So yeah, you can see this transition, but let's not be too hard on season 7, because when you rewatch it after watching all of this that has been going on in the past couple of years, you can still see that in spite of the bad writing, in spite of the bad music, in spite of the fucked up challenges, you can still see that there is a heart to this show. There is still a heart. There is not just a piggy bank with tons of money in the pockets of everybody who has a vested interest in making this show. There was still a heart behind it. Amateur Season said, Jocelyn last Instagram post in drag was on December 21st, 2019. That's a ton of time. That's a ton of time. Last time I checked, she had some gigs as a DJ. She had some gigs as a DJ, but not, from what I've seen, not really successful ones. It looked more like stunts, like, oh, there is this thing that I would like to do, and I would like to do it in drag. Much like Pearl was doing, if you remember. She had a time in which she was DJing. She had the album out. You remember the video, the one with D-Dogs? Sometimes we sing that song in this house. I'm not telling you the context, but sometimes we sing it. Mrs. G, I hope Serena does not give us an India Farah moment. It depends which moment you're referring to. India had many moments. But sometimes I think maybe some queens are not really good for reality television. Not because they don't make good reality television, but because reality television is not good for them. And one of those queens, for example, is Laganja Stranja. I don't think she would have anything to gain by coming back for All Stars. Because, judging by what the producers are doing, they are going to go for the lowest common denominator. So if Laganja was ever on for All Stars, they're going to give her a villain edit. They're going to give her a stupid edit. I have no doubt about it. Fantasia, they need to do a different style. I want a Big Brother style living situation for All Stars, because I like the new show they have. Them just living their lives with all the drama. I would like it Big Brother style, but it can work for another show. But for Drag Race, this is business, Fantasia. This is business. The Drag Race brand is worth $1 billion. If it's not $1 billion, it's $0.9 billion. But the drag, that's the value of the brand. So you have to understand, if something works and it brings you money, you do not change it. And for all that we know, for all the measurable indexes that we have, so the viewership, the commenting on Reddit, the commenting on Twitter, Instagram, the views on YouTube, the show is still very, very successful. It's not going down yet. So why change something that works? What work would be add something else that it's different. That is a safe thing to do. For example, what I would like would be a season of All Stars when nobody goes home. I would love that. These are the queens that we love the most. These are the queens that we follow the most. So why having to send them home? Let's just everybody tune in. This is something that I said already and I will repeat again. It will also help with the viewership. Some people only watch because they like one specific queen, and after that they tune out. Amateur season. I want Kasha Davis and Max on All Stars. They would both do it, despite the fact that Max said years and years ago that she would never do it All Stars. She said in an interview that she reached a point in her career in which she would absolutely take it because it's good publicity. Sergio, hello, good afternoon. Good for us, it's good night. It's the middle of the night, and it's nice to see. It's been a long time. Fantasia, Vegas review. Review? Yeah, well, it's my pronunciation. I need to drink something. One moment. Yeah, it's a new show. Vegas review, but I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it at all. This is the whole thing that I'm going to watch probably in November, once we have most of the job done. Yoon said apparently RuPaul was really angry in season 7 and they cut down a lot. I believe that, but I believe she was more angry about what was going on with Pearl. That scene when with the Shakespeare and so on, it sounded so fake to me. It sounded, that's not how a angry person talks. I don't know if maybe she had a moment in which she exploded and then they decided to put it in the show and so they reenacted it. That I will believe. But you know, that's not you've seen angry people. I mean, they scream. Have you ever been like really angry? Like, you know, the voice, when you're really angry, the voice comes from your diaphragm, from where you feel your stomach. That's where the voice comes from. And somebody is talking to you and is really angry, not from the throat, from the diaphragm. Sergio, I think I'm a little late. Yes, a couple hours late, but don't worry. And it's good to see you anyway. Yoon, they lied to Stacy, telling her she'd be casted in All Stars 4. I heard that as well. That she received a call to participate, and then she later found out that she was only going to be a guest. I know. But what can you expect? I mean, it's exposure, it's good money, and you know, Stacy is not one of those queens that you can comfortably say that she has no problems paying her bills. She is no Trixie, she is no Katya, she is no Bianca. She, you know, it's better than nothing. But of course, it's not like we didn't know that the producers call a ton of queens. On some queens, they even tell them, you are cast. They prepare, and then they're not cast. Remember Willem in All Stars 1, he even made a song, RuPaulogized, with Sharon Needles. You remember that? They gave her the call. They told her you're on. She bought everything, and then she said, well, we don't really need you. You were kind of our backup. How does that feel? Season 8 felt like a throwback to season 4 to me, said Yoon. That depends. We didn't have that many, you know, season 4 for me is Fifi O'Hara's season. You know, when I think of season 4, I think of Fifi O'Hara. Then they come out, you know, like a curtain. All the queens naturally fall under it. So you have Sharon Needles, and then you have oh god, I'm starting to forget the names. Jiggly Caliente and Latrice Royale and Chad and so on. To me, it really felt like season 6 because of the top 3. You had a very young and talented queen, not necessarily mastering all the different sides of drag, at least the one necessary to do this show, but still very talented. Then you have an older and experienced queen, which incidentally was also the drag daughter of Bianca Del Rio. And then you have, who was on the top 3 with Naomi and Bob? Oh my god, Kim Chi. And then you have Kim Chi. What was the parallel? Oh, that they were both famous out of Drag Race. Kim Chi had a huge Instagram following. She was one of the first Instagram queen to be, I think, explicitly cast because she already had a huge following to begin with. And you know, Kim Chi, she had great style, great makeup, but acting, singing, runway, I mean walking, you know, she's talented in what she does, but she's not versatile. At least not in season 8. That's how she looked to me. Amateur season, Laganja said she would be open to be doing All Star 6. Well, that would be interesting. That would be interesting. If she does it, I hope that she has everything under control. Because, you know, when I think Laganja for All Stars, I think Fifi for All Stars. And, you know, despite the fact that you had Alaska speaking out, Roxy speaking out about how they basically baited Fifi into having breakdowns on stage and fights on stage, despite all of that, people are still saying, oh, Fifi was a complete bitch 8 years ago, and she was a complete bitch 4 years ago. And, you know. Yeah, of course I would like to see Laganja on screen. Don't get me wrong. I would absolutely like it. But, you know, I'm more worried about the damage that could do to her image or her career and her livelihood if the editor decide to take the easy route with her. Yoon, let's talk about Nebraska performing. It's horrible. Oh my God, come on. And I'm not hating it. It's really bad. Yeah, I know. But we, you know, let's make a point to try. We can joke about it, of course. Of course we can. Let's try to frame it, you know, in a more, how can I say, more digestible way. You know, I hardly really say to someone's performance or someone's work that it's horrible. What I usually say is that you have a lot of potential to grow, because, and you are saying the same thing, but by saying it this way, you're also encouraging the other person, you know. But the bottom line is the same. You didn't enjoy what you've seen, but you know. Wait a moment, I lost a little bit of comments. Where are we? Amateur season. I have not watched the Vegas review show. I haven't watched it either. Yoon, Drag Race was supposed to be like Big Brother style, and they changed it. Really? Because I remember when they were doing, before season 1, there was somebody, I cannot remember who it was, but he proposed a name, RuPaul's Drag Race, for RuPaul, to RuPaul, and RuPaul at the time said absolutely not. And then they developed the idea at VH1, and they had the budget that they had, but they had already a network that would pick up the show, which at the time was Logo, which is part of VH1, which of course it's part of Viacom, which is now Viacom CBS. So, you know, at the time, RuPaul was selling chocolate bars on, not even on cable television, I believe, on, you know, local networks. So, of course, she said yes. But I never read that it was supposed to be more like Big Brother. It was more supposed like Project Runway, those kind of realities. Fantasia, Venji is really different in the Vegas show. Well, she's also growing up, isn't she? I mean, she had this huge, she was this huge meme, and everybody knew her for being loud and entertaining and funny. But you know, I suspect there is much more behind that. Maybe she just pushed more of that in season 11 because that's what people expected, you know. Yoon, Sasha Bell's Drag Race has better twists. It's been ages since I watched Sasha Bell's Drag Race. She had it on YouTube. Like, come on. Nora, Ru really doesn't show a lot of genuine emotion anyway. On the show, I doubt he wouldn't be able to contain himself. Oh, you're talking about where you're hungry. Oh my god, I have to toggle timestamps because I'm really getting behind again in the chat. I promise to try not to get behind it, but I am 10 minutes behind it. Okay, let's speed it up a little bit. Well, Nora, you know, when when you are pilled down with lithium, no, she's not. No, she's not. But I agree with you. I mean, there are some things about RuPaul. Okay, so let's agree on one thing. She is a legend. Nobody is taking away from that. She and World of Wonder, which is owned by two people. So these three people basically brought drag to mainstream and made a ton of other queer people around the world make a viable career doing drags, and nobody is taking that away from them. But that is not reason enough to justify the fact that RuPaul is fracking, allegedly, or that she looks like she doesn't give a shit about anyone unless the end point of it is about money, or she looks like a robot with never a genuine emotion about anything. So the two things are not incompatible. They're just two different perspectives on the same people. I completely agree with you. Whenever I hear the RuPaul yada yada bullshit, I just tune out. That doesn't take anything away from the fact that what they did was legendary. Absolutely. They had a cultural impact that is immeasurable. But this thing is still a load of bullshit. And we're going to call it a load of bullshit. Yoon said, screaming when you're corseted is... Well, oh my god, I'm becoming dyslexic again. Screaming when you're corseted is maybe different. I don't know what that means. I think I lost the context of that. She even signed a contract, but now she's struggling, actually. Oh, you're talking about Max. Yes, unfortunately, I heard that she's struggling as well. I saw, I think, what was it, June? I actually looked her up on YouTube, see if I could find anything, a live performance, something, and I saw her performing in a bar. Not even a venue, not it was literally a bar, like we are still in, in a tiny city, and I felt sorry. I really felt sorry. When season 7 came out, I didn't care that much for Max. I realized that she was unique in a way, but whatever she was bringing wasn't really doing it for me. I didn't dislike her, but she didn't really click for me. But I do remember that a ton of people absolutely loved her, were devastated when she got out. And I understand why, even though I repeat, it's not what it's clicking with me, but I understand it. And to see all that potential basically wasted away, it's such a sad story, because it went the way it went with the show. They fucked her up because they did. And then she made the mistake of talking out. And that was the problem. The problem is that today the queens can really afford to stay silent on these things, because we are talking about everybody, not only us, but everybody's talking so much more about the edit. And if you look back at that clip with Max getting out of her head and singing and so on, you can see a bottle of water that's next to her, that it's coming and going between shots. So you see that. It's really easy to see that it was all edited. She didn't lose her mind. But at the time, almost nobody was talking about edit and bringing out the importance of it in the perception of the queens. So she probably felt justified in simply talking out and say what really happened, and that you cannot do. It damages the image of the brand. And if you do that, you're out. You're out. The Drag Race brand can count upwards of 150 queens. They have queens. They don't need Max. So I don't think Max will ever be on All Stars, even if she's willing to do it. And I don't think Pearl will ever be on All Stars. And I know that she is not even willing to do it. So Fantasia, I zoned out so recently. Stay did have some recently stay. Oh, she recently stated that she had some financial issues because they took up a collection to get a place to live. Am I sleeping already? It's only 1:30 in the morning, and I'm not that old. No, one moment. Let me read this again. I zoned out. So recently, stated she had financial issues because they took up a collection to get a place to live. They sold a collection. They sold some. She sold something to pay rent. Oh, Stacy. Oh, you're talking about Stacy. Okay, yeah, I wasn't smart enough to follow the line immediately under it where you call her name. Yeah, I heard that too. She was they threw her out, I think. They threw her out of her apartment. This happened, I think, 1 month and a half ago, 2 months ago. It was really, really recent. It was really recent. But of course, I mean, here in Europe, a lot of places are opening again. Almost everything is opened. Of course, you have to respect some limits, like keeping your distance, keeping your mask on, and so on, especially in closed places. But places are opened again. I don't know in the U.S., but I think a lot of venues are still closed. So our queens like Stacy going to make their money. I mean, let's be honest, people online support the big queens, but when it comes to the small queens, there are not many people willing to help in a way. And Stacy never really established. She passed on. She looks like she passed on the opportunity of riding the meme fame coming from Reddit and bring an online presence. Making YouTube videos. Going on Instagram if she has one. I don't know because I didn't check, but from the YouTube perspective, why don't you come on YouTube? I mean, you're a queen, you're a meme, people love you. Make reviews, have fun, make tutorial, make whatever you want, but make something, because you never know what's going to happen out there. You need to diversify your earning as much as you can. I felt really sorry when I heard that. Because you would think that people associated with this brand have come to a point in which they don't really have to worry so much about basic things like paying your rent. So I felt kind of sorry for that. Amateur season. I mean, we could get Come On All Star 6. Let's get sickening. Yeah, it would be nice to see it would be nice to see how she changed, on the big screen. It's not like we cannot see it on social media, but it would be nice to see it on the big screen if done properly. Fifi is one of my all-time favorite queens. She grew up on me a lot. I appreciate the struggle. I really appreciate coming out from such a struggle and having to deal with it day by day and still keeping up. I appreciate her being tenacious, because God knows, when I read a couple of comments on my video saying this video is complete shit, I close the computer, go out on the balcony, smoke a cigarette, and get depressed for 20 minutes. So you know what's going on with Fifi. You know what they write on her. You know what they tweet her. And she's still going, and she's still kicking, and she's still keeping positive. And I appreciate the hell out of that. Fantasia, Fifi's a very talented bitch. She is resourceful. Very resourceful. Very bad on reality television, but very resourceful as a person. Yoon, Bob isn't Bianca's drag daughter. He has no drag mother and was adopted by Peaches Christ. Yes, but she came on the show saying that Bianca and Sherry Vine were her drag mothers. I don't know if maybe they were her mentors and she called them drag mothers because the show, of course, wants the queens to talk about their drag mothers. But she said it, I think, in the Meet the Queens for season 8. Lady Baconator, Fifen didn't come across as a bitch to me in All Stars 2. Well, neither to me, but mostly because I learned to see past the edit. I have to add that. Because she had moments with Alyssa where all this situation is conflated and things are cut off. And I mean, Alaska talked about it. They did a really dirty. They cut off a ton of things and they baited her with that mirror thing. It was a bait. They tried to they asked them to talk about things. I'm sorry, I cannot recall correctly. I cannot recall in details, but they basically asked her to talk about things while they were coming back from the main stage after Alyssa was eliminated. And she said in an interview that it felt kind of strange. It felt like they want something. Why are they asking us to talk about this right now? And then because they were preparing for this mirror shot, and it was messy. It was messy and sad. It was really sad. They didn't need to do that. They really didn't need to do that. It was really low to someone that, okay, I mean, you've seen season 4. There is no defending that behavior. There is no defending that attitude. But at least let's put it in context. Add the stress. Add the fact that there are other people who are doing the same exact shit, sharing needles, but they're not showing it because it's not consistent with the kind of storyline that they want to tell. It was a different time. She was a different age. So yeah, she said what she said. It was how it was, but that was also 8 years ago. You know, people change, time pass, and put anyone under enough pressure and you can basically get anything out of them. And you know, and if you talk about queer people who probably learned to talk by aggression because that's the only thing that you get in states like Texas, it looks like, then it's a recipe for disaster. I mean, I'm not justifying the things themselves, but when you take the person into perspective, you also have to talk about these things. You cannot just say, oh, she was a bitch. Come on. Fantasia, following her on social media, she doesn't seem to be bitchy. She seems to be on the right side of things. Yeah, she is much better at the social media game than on the reality TV game. You know, she knows how to interact. She knows how to interact. I don't, for example. I don't know how to interact in written form. I am terrible at that, which is why I also enjoy much more to come on stream and talk. It's much easier. A little bit has to do with the language barrier, but a little bit it's also a kind of talent that she has, and I don't. Luis Felipe, you're back. You're back too. You're back too. Thank you for coming. Oh, Yoon, come on. I'm not going to read that comment. Come on. Be nice. Be nice. Amateur season. The producers told Pearl themselves that Pearl can never return for All Stars, even if she wanted to. I have no doubt about that. I have no doubt about that. You are not allowed to speak ill of the show or RuPaul or shatter the illusion that the show is not really real. That's the ultimate sin. Fantasia, I want to hear more about what happened with Max. I'm going to have to look that up. Yeah, the problem is that I always wanted to, Fantasia, I always wanted to create a kind of Excel document for me with all of my, how are they called? Not notes, with all of these links, because there are tons of interviews, tons of Reddit posts. Then there are interesting parts that are on podcast. And what I usually do is that I do my research, that I put everything into the folder for one specific video, but then I don't have it readily available in case that I need it. Because I really appreciate when you guys come out and say, oh, I want to know more about this. Do you have a link for the article? Because, it's a good attitude to have. You listen to someone, but then if you have the possibility to see things firsthand, it's always better. It's not just a matter of trust, It's I don't take it personally when people say, "Well, yes, but where did you read this? Can you give me a link?" I don't take it personally. I completely understand that, and I encourage it. It's really good. It's always better. Also because I can try to be as objective as I can, but sometimes I might misremember because I have a bias of my own. It happens all of the time. Sometimes people will actually try to ban things, and people do. But sometimes it just happens. So if you can take a look at things firsthand, it's always good on you. Always good on you. Yoon, you went on about Max, but we were all talking about Stacy. Oh my god. Well, it's late at night. I'm old. I'm tired. Oh my god, I got it wrong. This is what I lose myself. I talk. There are 30 seconds between me and the chat. So my voice reaches you about 20 to 30 seconds after I've actually spoken. So that already puts a time distance between me and the chat. But on top of that, I also lose myself on the chat. I start talking, and then I forgot the live interaction with the chat, which of course, our usual viewers know this and learn to cope with it. But yeah, it is how it is. Mrs. G, where did Alaska talk about the Fifi thing? That's exactly what I was talking about a moment ago. I don't have a link. I think it was on Art Gloss, the podcast, but I have to look it up. Wait a moment, I'll see if I can find it fast on Google. No, it's been ages since I read that. It's been ages, so it's not even in my history. Could it be this one by Entertainment Tonight? No, it's not this. No, I don't have a link. But I can look it up. And when I find something, I will post it on the Discord. Fantasia created a section for, articles and behind the scenes dramas and so on. When I find the link, or when I find resources for that, I will post it there. And it was not just Alaska, it was Roxy as well. As far on the top of my mind. I wouldn't doubt if more Queen came out and talked on Fifi's behalf. Amateur season, I'm on Mars. I was teleported here to be Demi Brown. Please send help. My partner says that line with the Teletubbies tonight. Oh, Tammy. Fantasia, in an interview, Fifi said she basically produced a lot of those fights. She is great for reality TV. She just ended up with a lot of backlash. I heard that too. But at the time when I heard that, I thought that was kind of plausible deniability. Because I got the impression that she really got caught in the game 100%, and she completely lost control of it. And sometimes it's easier to admit, well, I was just playing it up, it was for the camera, it was for the audience, it was what I was required to do, than simply admit I completely fell for it. I lost control, showed my worst side, and that's how I felt about it, you know, because that's how I feel about Fifi season 4 Fifi. Someone that completely lost control for 2 or 3 days probably against one person who was basically provoking everyone because that was her shtick, which was Willem, and that's how it went. Of course, season 4. Don't forget. Season 4 came out after season 3, a season that celebrated people calling other people boogers. That was, that was what they had behind their back. There was no social media, there was no craziness going about it, people were not yet obsessing with everything about the show, so it felt kind of safe to just let go when you were on stage, when you were filming at least. That's the impression that I have from it. That she felt comfortable, and for some reason, maybe she was provoked too much pressure. Of course, with the accomplice of being the age you are and coming from the place you come from, it was a recipe for disaster. But, she got an opportunity out of it. An opportunity that basically, in good or bad, it made her into a household name. Now, what she does with it, it's up to her. But she's being a great example to all the other queens who received the villain edit. Yoon, you could a drag race. You forgot a verb there. I'm not sleeping. I can see. Where are they now? For like queens they don't promote or aren't popular. Yes, I would like to do that. The problem is that I cannot stop with the research. I would go online and then find out, okay, you have done this. There are 2 ways in which you can do this kind of videos. You can do that. You can do a kind of trash video where you don't really research anything. You're just taking a couple of things here and there and try to look as professional as you can and having people to believe what you're saying. Or you can actually put in the research and see exactly what are they doing, why are they doing what they're doing, what did they fail on. And that's pretty difficult to do. It's not so quick, it's not so immediate with queens that you're not actively following. And on top of that, I have a ton of other things to work on. I have a ton of things to finish. I did a voting on the channel back in May, asking everyone, which kind of video do you want to see next? And everybody voted for a Gigi video, the video on Gigi Good. And then I said, fine, then I will do this one first, And then that video became 2 videos. Then the 2 videos became a trilogy. Then the 2 videos became 4 videos. And then the edit was not good enough. Then the script was not good enough. Then I did the voiceover. The voiceover had to be redone. And then edit more and add more. And since I'm doing basically a mini documentary about it at this point, then we need to have some soundtrack. It's getting... I lose myself. I just lose myself. On a project like that, I could lose myself for weeks. Like literally weeks. Amateur season. I just want to see a video on Jade Sotomayor. Oh, I would love it too. If somebody else would make it. Why don't you make it? Make a commentary video. Get some footage together if you need to, to find some footage for fair use in your videos. Just message me, you've been here. You are one of the mods on this channel. I donated the video to you, so why don't you try to do it? If you need help reasonably, I can help you in doing that. Really, I mean it. Not just saying because I say it, you know. There is the Discord server, which is not YouTube. It's a little bit more, you know, more low level. More. If you need help, just ask. Yoon, back in season 4, not All Stars 2. Yes, Fifi. Mrs. G, I love Tammy Brown. Yeah, Tammy is special. A special kind of crazy. But she is special, and she's the first one to show the middle finger to RuPaul. Back in season 1. Can you believe that? She nearly never gets enough credit for calling RuPaul out. I mean, you have to be completely out of your mind or have a pair of huge balls to say something like, well, it was also a different time, you know. It was season 1, almost nobody was tuning in. But can you imagine someone like Tammy? I don't think they would ever even cast someone like Tammy right now. I don't think it would ever happen. Yoon, Sharon and Fifi amped up most of their rivalry. Yes, that I heard as well. But when you watch season 4, you can also see that there are basically moments in which they are basically kikiing with each other. They are doing it, and I was like, well, they are supposed to hate each other. Why are they kikiing now? And then when they started spilling out the tea, saying not only they didn't really have this rivalry, but they were also in on the game of eliminating other people, making other people get out of the show, like Jiggly, like Willem, and they show nothing of Sharon. So, you know, that thing is pretty notable. That they played up this rivalry thing. It was part of the storyline. That thing they did understand. Tammy is doing things, so we don't have to move to Mars. Julie, as long as you're having fun, I will gladly wait to see your finished Gigi documentary. It was, Julie, it was fun when I was researching the material. It was really fun, you know, because every time it looks like you're doing a treasure hunt. You're getting closer and you're getting closer and you're getting closer. Then something else pops up, and this something else completely changes your perspective. So you need to make it bigger because the story is bigger. And it becomes even more interesting. So you research a little bit more, and then you write a script, and then you rewrite the script. And these parts, I really enjoy it. I'm really having fun doing them. What I starting to enjoy much less is the editing. When it comes to making transitions, kind of special effects, or learning a new things, I really enjoyed that. But the mindless editing work, that is so boring to me. It has become so boring. That's why I was looking, even paying for another editing program rather than Blender that could make the editing go a little bit smoother, a little bit faster for this kind of mindless edits, mindless transitions, because it's the most boring part. But of course, once you start working on a project and you are halfway there with the editing, then it becomes exciting again, because it's almost finished. So you start to encode a little bit of the video, see how it feels, make some final correction and adjustment. I mean, overall, it's fun to do it. There are parts that I don't enjoy that much. And the problem is that most of the work that is left for a ton of videos is just editing. So I'm going to format this damn computer tomorrow so that it is in the best condition to make my work as fast as I can, and then like power through the next 3 to 4 videos, because they need to get out. They absolutely need to get out. It's time. It's been so long. And you know, in all, there are about 500, 600, maybe 1,000 people that watch the live streams. between the time it airs and the 2 or 3 days that I leave it on the channel. But then what about all the other 37,000 subscribers that do not really care for the live streams? They really have been patient enough. It's time to get videos out. It's really time. Amateur season. I've been trying to make a video on Jade, but I've just been having problem finding footage. We are going to talk about it on Discord. We're going to talk about it on Discord, okay? So I can teach you a couple of things. And remember, using footage for fair use is fair game. So there is no problem with that. But I can help you in a couple of ways on how to find the material that you need. So that at least you can try to start doing something. Because I understand the struggle. Even today, you see very well made videos on Drag Race, and then the quality of the footage is like they recorded with their phone in front of the TV. So I understand the struggle. Lady Baconator, I never used Blender. I used DaVinci Resolve for video editing. I never even heard of DaVinci Resolve, but Blender is a very, very powerful open source editor. The problem is almost nothing is automated. So you have 100% of the power. And then 100%, I mean 100%. You can do whatever you want to the T. You can do everything. You have control over everything, but almost nothing is automated, and it's slow. It's slow. And I still like Blender if I was doing the kind of videos that I would really, really love to do, which is a lot of animation, special effects, swapping faces, edit things that are not supposed to be there, making seamless transitions. I would love to do that, but I don't have the computing power to do it anymore. What I can do is tiny things, a little bit here and there. Everything else is basic, simple editing that I should probably do with another program. I wanted to actually try Adobe Premiere. The problem is that a lot of people are saying that it's hard on the resources of the computer, but it's really quick when you have to do simple things like transitions, like loading footage, like animating small things like writings and so on. And most of all, Premiere allows you to have a free month, a free trial. So when I have time, I will do this free trial, and then they offer you to pay not for the program itself, but you can pay for a yearly license. I think it's about $100, $150, something like that. And if the channel can make that kind of, it's a tiny amount, it could work for me. I could pay for it, but I don't even know if I like it. That's the problem. So I will just push out all of these things, format my damn computer, go back to work. And then I will try these other programs. I'm sure that I will find something better. I'm sure, but I need time to actually get to know the program, Because if you don't, it doesn't matter how simple a program is. If you don't take the time to learn how to use it, then you are better off just using what you already know. It's just faster. Fantasia, Jade is probably a local queen. You might need to find the club that she works for, and they might have things she's tagged on their page. Yes, that is a very good suggestion. That's a very good suggestion. And once you have found that, I can help you in actually getting that material into a usable file for your videos. Because I know the struggle of trying to get footage from different sources, including YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, and it can be a struggle at some point. But there are solutions. I don't know how loud I am to talk about them on YouTube, but you know where to go. So just whatever you find, just send me a link, and say, I would like to have this video. And I will see what works and then answer back with a link for you. And you can start working on that. And don't get demotivated. Just do something that you have fun doing. And if something that nobody else is doing, then it's even better for you and even better for your channel. Okay, guys. Now, with that said, it's 2 in the morning, and I'm probably going to have a cigarette and then go to sleep. So thank you so much for coming. I will see you on the Discord server. I will post the articles there as well. I will also post them in the description for these videos. And hopefully I will see you in a couple of weeks for the premiere of the new video, the GG video. So it was nice to be back. It was really nice to be back. I missed doing this. I had a little bit of anxiety coming to it. Like, will I still remember how to do it? Do I really have to do it? Do I like doing it? So, you know, after the initial moment, it's nice. It's a nice time to spend together. So thank you for coming, and I will see you next time. Have a good day, guys. See you soon.